trip down memory lane.
Hola, mi nombre es Carlos Santana.
Michael Conforto.
Todd Frazier, Toms River, New Jersey.
San Jose, Venezuela.
And I'm from Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic.
I played at Whitney Little League.
I played for Awatuki Little League.
Little League was something that everybody did.
For me, that was kind of the beginning of it all.
So I remember
We're down our last strike.
There was a guy on first and third.
1 and 2 count.
It was a lefty pitcher throwing like 75. I'll give you $1 if you hit a home run.
If this ball comes to you, you got to make the play.
And the guy on first stole.
Yo doy un rolling por primera, por un rolling suave, suavecito, lo más suave que tú.
saw the coach waving me home.
And the guy throws it over the guy's head.
I overthrew home.
I was safe.
We end up winning 1-0.
Everyone dogpiled on the mound.
Esas son una memoria que son inolvidables, que pasó en mi vida.
You just wanted time to stop during those days because it was so much fun.
There was something about watching kids your age on TV.
We were definitely fans.
It didn't really sink in, and basically until we got there.
The most fun part about it was my teammates.
We're just looking forward to playing ping pong.
To be able to, meet people from different countries. I mean, it was a blast.
Going back there, I'm excited. I can't wait to see the smiles on these kids' faces.
It's a pretty special thing to make it there.
Historic Bowman Field in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. The Phillies are in a pennant race. Tonight's game has big-time postseason ramifications in the idyllic settings of one of minor league baseball's most storied facilities. And for the Phillies, they start play tonight in a dead heat with the Atlanta Braves, who just suffered a 4-game sweep at home to the upstart Colorado Rockies. The Phillies fighting for their postseason lives with 6 weeks left in the regular season. And without losing our focus on what's happening in terms of the big picture in baseball, we welcome you to Bowman Field for a very special night as Major League Baseball celebrates the Little League World Series with Alex Rodriguez and Jessica Mendoza, Matt Vasgersian in our broadcast booth, which consists of seats about, 6 rows away from home plate. It's a great view. It's going to be a great night. And Jess, you've been here since Thursday calling Little League World Series games.
Yes.
Give us a little slice as to what the feel is.
Honestly, it brings out your inner 12-year-old. I mean, we've all got it, right? There's a reason why we started playing. And to see, obviously, the big leaguers get into that. They get off the buses this morning. And to me, the fact that inner child, the reason why you love baseball, it's everywhere. And it's in the Little League World Series, but now that comes over here to Bowman Field where the big leaguers get to play.
Jess, I was over there with you this morning, just 5 miles down the road, and the passion, the energy, the enthusiasm was awesome. Awesome. But for me, it's about really building the bridge of hope and dreaming. And Major League Baseball and the Players Union have done that. I cannot wait to get this game underway.
Well, tonight we'll talk about the pennant race for the Phillies as they make that final push, but it's a departure tonight as well. It's a night when some of the game's bright young stars are reintroduced as Little League kids with Major League dreams.
My name is Scott Kingery, and my favorite player is Stephen Drew.
Scott Kingery, the little shortstop, deep to left field. It is gone!
Hi, my name is Michael Conforto, and my favorite baseball player is Barry Bonds.
Conforto coming up. Here left field, way back. Conforto's got himself a dinger. Goodbye, home run.
And I'm lucky enough to be here with a couple of those Little League World Series alum. We have Scott Kingery, of course, Philadelphia Phillies, Michael Conforto, the Mets. You guys were around kids all day today. For you, what's a memory you're going to take away?
Oh, man, it was great to be back. You know what, the biggest thing for me was just sitting down with the kids, answering their questions. I got to see a kid hit a home run from Japan. I got to see another kid throw the ball 80 miles an hour. It was awesome. So just interacting with the kids.
Scott, you came over on the bus with a bunch of Little Leaguers. What are you going to remember about that trip from the airport?
Just all the smiles, man. They were having fun, and they were dancing, laughing, joking around with us. And that's what baseball's all about. It's all about having fun, and to see how much they were enjoying this, it's just special.
Michael, Scott, thank you. Matt, back to you. Buster, thanks. You've got a great seat at home. It is legitimately the toughest ticket in all of sports tonight. Only 2,500 fans here, and all of them are Little Leaguers and families. It's a great night for baseball as these big league stars with the Mets and Phillies remember what it was like to hit that first Little League home run. Lineups and opening pitch are next. On ESPN is presented by Taco Bell's Nacho Fries, this summer's tastiest blockbuster. And in part by Axe. Well, Nick Pivetta ready to go to work here at Bowman Field in Williamsport, PA. As mentioned earlier, a truly idyllic setting for our national pastime. Mets and Phillies in the second running of the MLB Little League Classic. And for those of you who are unclear as to where exactly Williamsport, PA lies on the map, well, from Bowman Field to the Little League Complex, just a 5-mile journey, a little longer to get you to the big cities. From Williamsport to Queens, Williamsport to Philly, a short drive and an even shorter flight as both teams experienced earlier today. Take a look at our starting lineups brought to you by Taco Bell. First for the visiting New York Mets.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can talk stats all day long, but the stats that stand out to me are who's done what at the Little League World Series. And in this lineup, you got the cleanup in Michael Conforto, played in the 2004 Little League World Series for Redmond, Washington. Right after him is another one in Todd Frazier, and he's a hero around here, celebrating his 20-year anniversary, winning it all in 1998 for Toms River, New Jersey.
On the mound for the Phillies tonight, it is 25-year-old right-hander Nick Pivetta, looking to improve his record to 8-9. He's been great over his last 3 starts. 1-0 with a 1.50 ERA this month. A fan of Roy Halladay growing up as a little leaguer. Pivetta very good Tuesday against the Red Sox. Limited the biggest hitting lineup in the land to just 1 earned run on 3 hits over 6 innings. Did not factor in the decision in a Boston win. We are underway in Williamsport. We should also point out tonight, and fans are certainly picking it up, that it is an alternate uniform scheme being worn by both the Mets and Phillies. Next week marks the beginning of Players Weekend, when all 30 major league teams will be wearing the alternate jerseys with nicknames. This event gets that weekend off to a head start. So if we could explain all nicknames, all 50 of them, we would. I think some of them are a little inside, but it's all with a lot of fun
but I
at
love
heart.
that there are 50, because I remember last year being the first year there just wasn't as many. A lot of guys are still going with their regular last names. Everyone buying into it now this year.
A ball and 2 strikes to Ahmed Rosario. Well, as we mentioned at the top, this game means a lot for the Philadelphia Phillies, beginning the day in a dead heat with the Braves atop the division, and a big hammer locks up Rosario. And if Pivetta has that pitch working tonight, Alex Rodriguez, the Mets are in for a long evening.
Yeah, they sure will. And you know, he can throw it hard and he can spin it, and he's a guy that can throw 96 to 98. He likes to elevate and he can spin it, and this is what I'm talking about right here, the breaking ball, and it's devastating. Both pitches plus pitches, but this is his signature pitch. Just he would throw that off the same tunnel with an up top fastball.
Time you see a batter's body do what Rosario's just did, it tells you a little bit about what the pitch was doing to him.
One back for the rookie second baseman Jeff McNeil. 3 multi-hit starts in his last 6 appearances for McNeil.
I love the photos. It's so great. I can't wait for guys to come up to bat so we can see what they look like when they're little.
Little dribbler up the first baseline. Pivetta with a really strong play to get to him with the glove hand.
Yeah, and he read this perfectly, and no one can better than the pitcher because he sees exactly what this does to the bat of McNeil. He gets it off his hands, and watch Pivetta off the end of the bat. Watch him just come off the mound, but then to have the sense of mind instead of trying to run, toss, throw to first base, he extends, able to get him with the glove for the out.
2 quick outs for Pivetta. Now the Mets first baseman Wilmer Flores.
That play right there shows you why Pivetta can be an ace. You always want your ace to be very athletic. Well, that showed the athleticism of a shortstop. Pretty impressive.
You saw that note there on Wilmer Flores' favorite player growing up. And I tell you, it just makes you feel all 50 of your years, if you're me, when, you know, kids say my favorite player growing up was Bryce Harper. That's kind of where we are now in this young man's game.
It's all downhill for us, Matty.
A ball and a strike to count to Wilmer Flores to 2-1 now. Well, it's been so much fun just kind of watching people's reactions to the players because everybody is so accessible here. There are only 2,500 fans at this ballpark. It is true that this is the toughest ticket in all of sports. Lined into left field, and there's the game's first hit.
Good fastball inside there to Flores. Broke his bat, but kept his hands really nicely inside of this fastball. And you see him tuck his hands nice and tight. Perfect technique. Good pitch, better swing.
Sounds a little different in this ballpark, doesn't it?
First of all, I mean, the intimacy. You mentioned 2,500, but for us, I mean, we're right behind home plate. Like, I feel like I'm playing right now. Like, give me a bat, I'm on deck. Like, this is the coolest thing. We've, called games all over big league stadiums over the country, but I mean, this is pretty special.
0-1 to count to Michael Conforto.
I love
it. You got an itch to go hit right now. I can tell.
I got to tell you, I've never sat this close to a game. I've either been way up top or on the field. So this is actually pretty cool. I'm taking it all in. And what I love most is seeing all the great kids, the young men, the young women. They're so happy. There's so much energy in the building.
Conforto tried to check it and does. It's 2 balls and a strike. Michael Conforto, as we've talked about already, one of the returning Little League World Series stars, played for the Redmond, Washington team that competed in the 2004 event.
Oh, man. These photos.
And there's a curveball in for a strike. It's 2-2.
Can't wait to see your guys' photos later.
Who said that's going to happen?
That's a teaser.
Second oldest ballpark in minor league baseball. Here's the 2-2. And a full count now, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
Watch Nick Pivetta do that a lot this game. He will locate his fastball low in the zone, but he tries to elevate for purpose. And you see a lot of pitchers go to that now. But with 96 to 98, you can get that as chased. He has a lot of success.
And a swing and a miss from Conforto gets Pivetta out of any trouble in the top of the first. Underway in Williamsport. What's that? And it's time for the Phillies to go to work as we take a look at Gabe Kapler's Philadelphia starting lineup, brought to you by Taco Bell.
Highlighting shortstop Scott Kingery, who's an alum from the 2006 Little League World Series, representing a team from Phoenix, Arizona.
These Phillies taking swings against, well, a guy who had his best start as a Met in his most recent outing, left-hander Jason Vargas, who Tuesday at Baltimore went a season-long 6, allowed 3 earned runs on only 3 hits, didn't factor in the decision, but as you can see the numbers on Jason, not what he envisioned when he signed a 2-year free agent deal to come to New York after an all-star season of 2017. Mets plan on giving him as much work down the road as possible to finish out 2018 with 1 more year on the deal. And Jason Vargas's night is underway. A little cue shot. Flores knocks it down, and it's a 1-pitch out for Jason Vargas. Well, we have great access tonight, as you'd hope, in such a small setting, and Todd Frazier is among those wearing a microphone for us and recalling his previous experiences right here in this ballpark.
I was the number 3 pitcher, and when I pitched, we had a left-handed second baseman.
What was the final score?
12-9.
Oh.
11 home runs hit in that game. Japan. Kashima, Japan.
How many do you hit?
I led off for 1, 4 for 4, with an intentional walk at the end.
Hey, they got the scouting report.
It is amazing the recall. We're talking about a Little League game.
12-9, 11 home runs, left-handed second baseman. I mean, shoot.
It's amazing the recall when we have great moments and how easily we forget the bad moments.
But you can't wipe the smile off Todd Frazier's face. He was here early. I would imagine he's going to stay as late as he can. Here's Rhys Hoskins batting with 1 gone.
Yeah, how cool is it? He came separate. He came yesterday because he wanted to get here early and be at the ballpark early, check out his shoes. Those are all his Tom Rivers, New Jersey teammates. They're celebrating their 20-year anniversary of winning it all against that Japan team. Tom's River, New Jersey. Talk about a guy that's just soaking it in.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Rhys Hoskins. 3 homers in his last 6 as he yanks that one into the corner and fouled. Well, the Tom's River team is still a pretty tight group. Earlier today, reliving the glory years with former teammates and members of the staff. And threw out the first pitch to fellow Jersey native Big Al Delia. You know Big Al, right? He's one of the biggest stars here this weekend. It's a ground ball to the left side of the infield, and Hoskins is retired.
He was the biggest celebrity this entire week. Big Al walking around everywhere. I hit dingers.
Is that Big Al in front of us right there doing a victory lap?
He just walked right in front of us. Yep.
Well, he knows if he just keeps, you know, canvassing the track, he's going to get on TV again.
He's with his PR people.
2 gone here in the home half of the first. And here's Carlos Santana. Of course, Big Al is one of the Little League stars who made quite an appearance on ESPN earlier. Kids introduced themselves, and Big Al said, "I'm here to hit dingers." Jimmy Kimmel put him on his show. Got a pretty good thing going.
He's got some star qualities.
2 gone, bases empty for Carlos Santana, and a little rollover ground ball to shortstop. 3 up, 3 down against Jason Vargas to start his side of the scorecard. And there's Big Al signing for only $5 an autograph today. Often the entire Mets starting staff just deciding to hang out in the stands.
And nobody else except for just Zach Wheeler, Steve Matz, Jacob deGrom, Noah Syndergaard. The Mets actually got to the Little League games a little bit late this morning and missed the time they were supposed to have with that Staten Island team you see them sitting there with. So they decided not only to come and hang out with them during the game, they gave the entire Staten Island Little League team tickets to a Mets game later this season. They're all going to come to a game. How cool
That's
is
awesome.
that?
What are these guys
Just
doing?
hanging
I
out.
don't know if the guys in front can have any idea who's sitting behind him.
They're like, why are these
Well,
guys?
I'll tell you what they're doing is they're looking at these 4 guys and saying, I cannot believe the size of these men. They're so big.
Frazier leads things off with a shot that almost took Pavetta's shoulders off. Man.
The Todd father taking a breaking ball, the one that starts right at you and does exactly what he's supposed to do with it, right back up the box.
I'll tell you what, I think he's going to have a night. I mean, we've talked about Todd Frazier and 20-year reunion. I mean, this is his place. This is his mode, and you can just see it in his eyes all day today. And you're right, for him to just sit still on that curveball, we've seen hitters try to jump out of the way of.
Here's Austin Jackson now.
And do you guys remember the home run derby? Of course, when Frazier did it in his hometown in Cincinnati. It's got that kind of feel, doesn't it? Todd Frazier back at the Little League World Series, 20th anniversary of that team. Absolutely. It feels like he's going to own the night.
Not to mention, Buster, as you know, certainly he's been swinging a really hot bat of late. He's been probably enjoying his best run as a Met here down the stretch, and he's had some injury trouble this year. 2 stints on the DL. But he's driven in 11 runs over his last 12 games, hitting over 360 during that stretch. And aboard for Jackson here to start the second. 2 balls and a strike. Well, Austin Jackson had quite a journey this year, as you see his longer journey as he wanted to be a basketball player growing up as a kid. Began the season with the Giants. Traded to Texas. Released by the Rangers, signed by the Mets at the end of July. And he has added some veteran presence to a very young Mets outfield.
I still can't get over as we pan back to Austin Jackson. We've got 4 of the biggest names of the Mets just kicking it in the stands during a big league game.
Hey, a reminder, Tuesday and Wednesday, Cardinals and Dodgers on ESPN. Start time at 10 Eastern. Luke Weaver and Hyun-Jin Ryu on Tuesday. Walker Buehler and Jack Flaherty on Wednesday. And then Sunday Night Baseball, Jess, Buster, Alex, and I will be at Camden Yards in Baltimore for the Orioles and Yankees at 8 Eastern. 97-mile-an-hour fastball just missed up. And it's 2-2. Check the count. 3 balls and 2 strikes. 3-2 to Jackson. No selfies have been taken.
Oh, they're doing one right now. You got to look in the robe in front of them.
Payoff pitch to Jackson. That's into shallow left center field. Frazier will wrap around to third, and the Mets have something cooking here in the second. You've already seen the intimate flavor of Bowman Field. This place was opened in 1926. Second oldest active major league ballpark. Home of the Williamsport Crosscutters. They play in the New York Penn League short season A-ball, a Phillies affiliate. Just over 2,500 folks can attend. And it has major league dimensions. It's not like you're playing in a little tiny tricked up ballpark tonight. You get it out of here in center field, 411. That's legit.
And it's a beautiful looking ballpark. Great background to hit in. And give Major League Baseball a lot of credit. They invested over $4 million to make this Major League Baseball ready, and they've done a magnificent job.
0-1 the count to Jose Bautista. Couple of strikeouts for Pivetta in the first. Back-to-back singles here in the second as he goes to work on the 6-time All-Star. Into right, and the Mets are on the board first tonight in Williamsport.
And really good hitting here. Inside-out hitting by Bautista. Exactly what you want to do with men in scoring position. Stays tight, stays short. And a guy that hits a lot of home runs really became very hitterish and tight and short to the baseball. For all the little leaguers out there with man in scoring position, think big, right back up the box. Big part of the field, exactly what Bautista did right there.
So now the catcher, Kevin Plawecki, he gets into the act. That's base hits to 4 of the last 5 hitters allowed by Nick Pivetta. 2-0 New York.
We haven't seen a lot of swing and misses as well. Nick Pivetta usually does a good job of changing not only speeds but location, and we've seen him get a lot up in the zone. Plawecki all over this one. First pitch. And it's not that they're crushing it, they're just getting enough. And you're right, shorter swings right now, base hit after base hit. Scores another run.
Jess, when you see a team get 3 out of 4 hits on a breaking ball, you get a little bit alarmed. So something to watch for the video inside for the Phillies team is, hey, is he tipping anything? Is he showing anything? And that's something to watch, because a guy with this good a breaking ball usually does not get 3 hits in 1 inning.
Four straight singles against Pivetta have opened the second. See the dramatic splits with runners in scoring position. A .340 batting average allowed in spots like this one. Here's the pitcher, Jason Vargas. Now he's bunting and he pops it foul. You know, I think another thing to consider here is the fact that there is zero familiarity for Nick Pivetta and the ballpark and the mound, and pitchers being creatures of habit.
Yes.
The walk into the dugout. This is all brand new for him, as it is for the man he's pitching to, Jason Vargas, who once again squares to bunt, and it's a good one. Gets it down perfectly. Phillies play it safely, and the sacrifice is executed by Vargas.
You also got to think, too, I was talking to a bunch of the players from Team Canada, and Nick Pivetta, who's from Canada. I mean, they were really excited for his arrival. And so that's a lot of it, too, is it's one thing to go to the park and, you know, you can kind of blend. I mean, there's only a few Canadians that they're going to be able to latch onto and be like, hey, I want to meet you, I want to be around you. And you talk about creatures of habit. You're not used to doing certain things, but I'll tell you what, this Team Canada team, excited to see him on the mound tonight.
Second and third with 1 out, and now Ahmed Rosario kind of picking up where the rest of the lineup has left off this inning with early swings against Nick Pivetta.
Matt, you mentioned a new park and new surroundings. Talking to Pat Ressler, the hitting coach for the New York Mets, who does a fantastic job with his hitters. The Mets are the worst hitting team in Citi Field, but yet they're the best hitting team on the road. So anything away from Citi Field, Mets hitters are happy, and so is that man right there, Pat Ressler.
Well, so far tonight, Pat's been pretty pleased with the approach. The Mets began play hitting a National League low .241 with runners in scoring position, but they're 2 for 2 in that category so far tonight. With the infield in, Pivetta misses wide. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Alex, you talked about the concern about possible tipping in game. What sort of things would they look at to try to do a quick fix?
Well, there's a few things. I mean, now with all the camera angles, this is a great angle right here. You want to see if there's any movement on the glove, and the minute he takes off that ball, if there's any exposure.
Back up the middle and through. A base hit that'll score Bautista. Here's Plawecki. He'll score without a play, and it's 4-0 New York.
And now they're hitting everything. They've hit breaking balls, now they're hitting fastballs. Again, something very odd to get on top of a fastball of Pivetta. Very unusual. The Mets are all over him. Either they have a tremendous scouting report and executing perfectly, then perhaps they may have something.
Six hits already for New York in this one, just an inning and a third into the ball game. So now it's back to the rookie second baseman Jeff McNeil, who grounded to the right side in his first try tonight. Already more damage against Nick Pivetta tonight than in his complete 6-inning outing on Tuesday against a very good hitting Red Sox lineup.
Good news for the Phillies. They could say you have Jason Vargas there, not one of their big guys, you know, Syndergaard or DeGrom. So if you hold him right here, give the Phillies offense an opportunity to chip away.
I think the thing right now that Pivetta's struggling with, though, is the fact that it's been all his pitches that have gotten hit. And granted, they haven't been crushed, but we've seen his fastball, slider, his curveball, and his changeup all get hit for hits.
Just what's alarming is if you're watching body language of the hitters and the pitcher, there's no swing and misses. And Buster, that's what to look for. A guy that's a swing and miss guy, you get to see this right here. You see the white in the back? And we'll come back to that later in the game, and we'll kind of just analyze it a little bit. But there's so many guys. There's 2 or 3 guys. You have guys like Chase Utley, Carlos Beltran, Roberto Alomar, Alex Cora, Paul Molitor. There's so many names that you can think of that are just experts at sitting there and just watching video right now, analyzing every pitch and every angle.
And I always heard that Jose Bautista, that was something he was excellent at. The Blue Jays had a reputation as a team when he was there for being really good at picking up stuff like that.
Absolutely. And that goes back to the Blue Jays, even back to Cito Gaston, who was always very good at picking up things like that.
Well, for Jose Bautista, and his is one of the damaging RBI singles against Pivetta tonight, he's in a very familiar place, because along the way in his minor league career, he called the Crosscutters home. The Williamsport Crosscutters, and Jose Bautista in his first minor league season called this his home park.
He talked about that pregame too, is how familiar it is. And we just said with Nick Pivetta, you know, you're in a new stadium as a pitcher, but even as a hitter, if you've been here before, just the feels, the stadium's probably a lot better than when he even played because of the renovations, everything that they've done. But it's nice to have that familiarity.
Yeah, you make a good point. This is a very different place now than it was in 2001 when Jose Bautista was coming up as a Pirate. So let's see what Pivetta can do on a 2-strike count now. He lost Rosario on a 2-strike pitch. 4 runs here in the Mets half of the second. Runner goes. Throw down by Ramos. He's in time to get Rosario.
On a breaking ball, Ramos, absolutely perfect technique, throws a rocket down there. And Rosario looks to get stuck here a little bit. And him getting stuck probably cost him right here, and he sure is. He's out.
But you're right. His body didn't continue to slide. He just slowed down right there.
The newest Philly, who has certainly helped him on the offensive side of the scorecard, hoping to stem the tide in a damaging inning. And on the appeal, they say that McNeil held up, and it's 3-2.
Jerry Davis, the 34-year veteran, third base umpire.
Chris Guccione calling balls and strikes behind home plate tonight. He actually went and umpired one of the Little League games earlier this weekend.
That's cool.
Yeah, just a little fun for Chris. Here's the full count pitch, and there's a called strike 3 registered to McNeil. Pivetta finishes the inning not before damage. 5 singles translated to 4 runs, and the Mets have an early lead in Williamsport. big leaguers in uniform tonight. Conforto and Frazier, of course, returnees from the Little League World Series. Ahmed Rosario and Brandon Nimmo sharing Little League photos with us. And a few cheeseburgers later and some time in the weight room, and these young Little League stars arrive in Major League Baseball. And the Mets starting staff still hanging out with Team Staten Island.
Team Hawaii right there in front of them. One of my favorite players, Sean Yamaguchi. One of the stars for Team Hawaii. Japan there.
Do you want to bring us up to speed on the actual event? As Wilson Ramos leads off here in the second. Ramos, Cabrera, and Williams for the Phillies.
Japan had a huge win today against Spain, and or sorry, Panama, Team Panama. Panama came in huge bats, and to me, the international game, along with the U.S. teams, is the best part about it. All the different styles.
Ball and a strike to count to Wilson Ramos, making his fourth start as a Philly. And man, has he already made an impact. 4 extra base hits in his first 3 starts. He will get the lion's share of the catching responsibilities. We should mention that the Phillies are carrying 3 catchers for this game. Major League Baseball allowing for a 26th man, an extra position player on each roster, because of the travel, because nobody wants to get caught short-handed and compromise the rest of the season. Andrew Knapp was added to the roster for this game. And for the Mets, the left-handed hitting first baseman Dominic Smith is active. So 26-man rosters for both sides.
With one catch, Matt, the 26th man has to be a position player. It cannot be a pitcher.
That's perfect.
And there's Dom Smith. Did Justin Bohr just choose to keep the nickname as the name? He's not a boring guy, but as you saw a moment ago, he's just going with Bohr.
Ah, come on, Justin. See, here's me.
He could have gone with B-O-R-E. Yeah, you don't want to get him.
We're really close.
Don't you got to go with Jason, right? Don't you think so? The movie?
I like it.
As in Born.
Yeah, but you're kind of playing to it, right?
Swing and a miss by Ramos. Well, I think you're one step ahead of us on the nickname game, Buster.
Yeah, I mean, he lives by his nickname.
Do you have anything down there in terms of the Phillies nicknames that's shareable with the
not
American
the shareable
TV audience?
No, I'm sorry, not the shareable.
2 balls and 2 strikes to the man wearing Buffalo on his jersey. And when you stand next to Ramos, you know, you sign off on that nickname. This is a big, strong man.
Yes. And a huge get for the Phillies. The moment that he debuted with them just last week, because he was coming off the DL. He's arguably one of the best offensive catchers in the game today.
On the ground to Frazier. And there's 1 gone. Youth is also served in the PA booth tonight
base as Dribble Cabrera,
with the unmistakable Aussie accent of 4'11" Gold Coast Little League star Jake Scott. Way to go, Jake. Nicknamed Little Snake, and after we saw that wink, we get it. One gone now for his Dribble Cabrera. Playing in his 20th game as a Philly, after starting his career, of course, with starting his season rather with the Mets. And Cabrera smashes a ground shot to Frazier. Who's up next, Jake?
number 5 playing right field, Nick Williams.
What do you think?
I love it. Everything sounds better in an Aussie accent.
Indeed, indeed. You know, Matt, you were talking about about Ramos and obviously what he does to stabilize his offense. But Kapler told us today in his office that is what he brings to his pitching staff, but also the Spanish-speaking infielders and how he stabilizes all of them to the point where when he goes to the mound, he knows that there's going to be nothing lost in translation because Ramos acts like the big brother. And that's something to watch, especially down the stretch, because they will need that veteran leadership and that stability in the clubhouse as well.
You know, there were other pre-deadline moves that may have gotten more ink, may have been more celebrated. Manny Machado going to the Dodgers strikes me as one. But we might look back at the end of the season and say Wilson Ramos to the Phillies had the biggest impact down the stretch.
The biggest two trades perhaps were in this game today. Ramos coming over here, and the one that didn't happen in DeGrom, who we could say, Buster, that Justin Verlander's this year's version stayed with the New York Mets, and that'll tell you a lot of what's maybe going to happen there the next 3 years.
Yeah, other teams who are excited to talk about DeGrom, the Mets never really got into it in those conversations. And also, it was referenced there, is Drupal Cabrera. I thought was a great pickup. All these teams always look for versatility, and you have someone who is experienced. He can play all over the infield. He's a veteran. You know, his heartbeat is going to be good against good pitchers in October. I thought that was a great pickup. Only two teams spent more money than the Phillies before the trade deadline, Mets and Yankees. Or excuse me, Yankees and Dodgers.
I agree 100%, Buster.
2 balls and 2 strikes. The count from Jason Vargas to Nick Williams. Well, there were a number of teams that checked in on his Drupal Cabrera. Boston looking for help at the time. The Brewers looking for help at that position. And a full count now to Williams.
There's my boy Sean Yamaguchi with Hawaii. Oh, okay. There's Dippin' Dots, and then there's like Dippin' Pie. That's like the whole thing. Yeah, get it, Sean.
Oh, look out. Jeez. Almost took off the shoulders of Vargas. Boy, there have been some shots back up the box with hair on it tonight. Still 4-0 Mets.
That one off the end of the bat. Runner's caught. He's going to run him back. And got him as Scott Kingery puts the tag on. Hit deep for Frazier to left field. He's done it again. Todd Frazier. Remember that name.
Notable Little League World Series alums in action tonight as we welcome you back to Williamsport. Commissioner Rob Manfred joins us in our broadcast position here at Bowman Field. What a great night, Mr. Commissioner. Welcome. Great to have you here. Congratulations on a great classic.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a great day so far. Just, you know, from everything from the players getting off the buses and the kids greeting them to, you know, the game here tonight just been as good as we could have hoped for.
All right, so we got your picture up there on the screen, just flashed up. When you look back and you have the memories, and obviously you got kids all over the place here. Tell me about little Rob right there.
Is that you or is that Tony Dow from Leave It to Beaver?
That is actually me. But you know, I have great memories from Little League. You know, lifelong friends that I play. You know, I grew up in a pretty small town, and you know, guys that I went all the way through high school with, played other sports with. But Little League was just a great experience. You know, I'm so old that we still had those flannel uniforms. You know, we had these flannel things that we wore. It was great. It was really great.
Commissioner, give us a scout report. Give America a scout report about Commissioner Manfred when he was a youngster.
You know what? I was pretty good in the field, and I have to say, I think I have pretty good eye-hand coordination. I could not hit a baseball. I mean, absolutely could not hit a baseball.
Well, those of us that couldn't do, we talk about it right for a living, and we administrate. And you know, this is such a great event in its second year, Rob. Of course, this is something that fans are going to start looking forward to and putting on their calendar as something that happens each and every year. Do we know who's playing in this thing next year?
We do. We do. It's going to be, I believe, the 18th of August next year, and it'll be the Pirates and the Cubs. So we think we got a nice matchup to bring back to Williamsport.
The Pirates and the Cubs.
Yep.
So we had the Cubs last week, okay? And BP were down on the field, and I was talking to Kyle Schwarber, and he's like, oh, like, what game do you have next week? And I'm like, oh, I'm actually Little League. We got the Classic. And he's like, how do I get in on that? Like, how does that? He didn't know yet, hadn't got the memo, but all the players and the bigs want to be a part of this game.
Well, you know, it's really interesting that the social media from other clubs, guys on other clubs that were not involved today, was really phenomenal. And I just think the words kind of got around that it's a great way to spend a day. And look, believe me, we appreciate what the players do. You know, to put another plane ride into a schedule that's full of plane rides for only one game, I mean, it's a lot. And they arrived on the bus, getting off the bus with big smiles, and they were great with the kids. It was fun to watch.
Commissioner, I was down in the field, down with Jessica today, just 5 miles down the road, and it was just such an epic event. But you've seen other sports be flat. We're growing at a 6% rate the last 3 years. What do you attribute that to, and how can we continue that?
Well, I think it's about the Play Ball initiative, which is really about partnerships, like our partnership with Little League, working with people who are at Cal Ripken Baseball, doing good work in the space, and it's investment. I mean, we are investing in places, underserved communities where kids weren't having an opportunity to play, and the owners believe, we believe, that we're seeing a return on that investment in terms of greater youth participation.
And RBI as well, right?
Yeah, RBI, obviously the sort of base of that effort, but you know, it's also the academies, the Elite Development Invitational, all of those programs under the Play Ball umbrella, we think are really helping to give us traction in that youth space. And remember, growing at a time when youth participation in all sports is dropping,
correct,
we feel is a real accomplishment.
And the big league players buying into it. I mean, Adam Jones this year, what he did for that Washington, D.C. Little League team to help fund them when they couldn't afford once they got to that next level. I mean, that to me, and you said it when you sat down, baseball is such in a great place, and this showcases it.
Yeah, I mean, what Adam did there, you know, our players truly do not get enough credit for everything that they do in the community, but one place that they are really outstanding, both present players and former players, is when you get them involved with kids, they're just off the charts good.
A swing and a miss by Todd Frazier wraps up the inning. Commissioner Manfred, thank you so much for the time. Congratulations on a great event. We can't wait to be here next year.
Well, we will be back, and we're looking forward to it.
Cubs Pirates, August 18th. Hey, you got any pins for us, by the way?
I do. Let's see.
Time you can catch this one on ESPN Plus. The Orioles open their 3-game series against the Blue Jays at Rogers Center. It's also streaming live on the ESPN app, so start your free trial of ESPN Plus now. Welcome back to Williamsport. A 4-0 lead for the Mets. Phillies send up their bottom third of the order in the bottom of the 3rd inning, and looking for their first base runner against suddenly stingy Jason Vargas tonight. Scott Kingery, Odubel Herrera, and Nick Pivetta scheduled.
Well, Mickey Callaway talked about it pregame as you see Scott Kingery. Gosh, he's got one of the best Little League photos, by the way. It was only a few years ago, though, because he's a pretty young guy.
Right.
But Jason Vargas, you can throw 87 miles an hour for Vargas and have success if you're able to keep it down in the zone, widen it. There's Scott Kingery's dad. Proud pops. They've got some memories in this city. Kingery played here at the Little League World Series.
Dad's got a little. He's got a little Richie Ashburn in him. I'm starting to get it now. Popped up and in foul territory off the bag for Wilmer Flores. 1 away. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell, is brought to you by Nissan. Innovation that excites. And Jim Beam, the world's #1 bourbon. Drink responsibly.
All right, so how many Little League kids, Matt and Alex, you got that are going to try to imitate Odubel Herrera? I mean, this is a stance. You walk in as a 12-year-old, you're going to notice.
Oh, man. It's a great question. I'm going to say optimistically just a handful, because it is impossible to replicate the Happy Gilmore stylings of Odubel Herrera at the plate. Last time the Phillies were on Sunday Night Baseball, Odubel Herrera was tearing up the league. He had homered in 5 straight and was responsible for really putting the whole lineup on his shoulders. Things have changed a bit since, and Odubel has cooled off, as the numbers would document. Gabe Kapler told us before the game that he thinks that Odubel has a 40-game stretch in him as he tries to bunt his way aboard that will once again carry the rest of the lineup, as we're creeping up on about 40-ish games left remainder of the season. You know, the time would be pretty good if that were to start now.
You know, Matt, one of the things to focus on is not the ups and downs. That's par for the course. What you want to do is monitor closely his attitude, his swagger.
That's great. This is great. I love it.
That's awesome. But there you go.
That's the swag you're talking about, Alex. That's what they want Odubel to get back to.
I love it. I love it.
We got to see the lower half. It's all about having your foot kind of open. Considerable foul space here, but that one, oh my goodness. Wow. Wilmer Flores is just amazed at the pursuit of Jeff McNeil, who apparently is okay.
I mean, that's hustle. That's hustle. Get to the wall, find the ball, and then reach. Just let the wall take you out. He had a little hell. Flores gave a little bump.
That's one of the challenges of coming to a new stadium and not being very familiar with foul territory. I mean, McNeil went in a full sprint into that. And luckily nothing happened, but.
Yeah, because he was still, to your point, Alex, still a good 5-6 feet from catching him.
Yeah. So going back to Herrera, the thing to focus on is more his attitude, his swagger, his comfort. Numbers are going to go up and down. I agree with Kapler. He does have 30 or 40 games where he can take this team to the next level.
And maybe this is the start of it. Worked the count nicely there and singles into right field. Number 43, ESPN technology is built for baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile using our front row camera.
I love this look. Why? It takes you as close as you can into the batter's box. You see the swing right there, Duval Herrera, just how he gets around the ball. It's outside and he almost gets beat because it's a changeup. But watch just his extension. Yeah, he's got a funky little stance. You get bat on ball, you'll find yourself in it.
So Herrera aboard. That's the first base runner for the Phillies tonight. 7 in a row retired by Vargas until Herrera's single on a full count pitch. Pavetta's going to give himself up early in the count, looking to bunt, lays off a fastball. You might not see it necessarily here in this plate appearance, Alex, Jess, but as we know, the Phillies are among the best in baseball at working the count. They average about 4 pitches per plate appearance. Only the Dodgers as a team battle in an at-bat longer. And Pavetta didn't it perfectly. That advances Herrera to second with 2 away. So back to the top of the order, Cesar Hernandez, who is among the more patient hitters in the game, and a major reason as to why the Phillies rank highly on this list. A lot of pitches per plate appearance, second most to the Dodgers. Their walk percentage, second best only to the Dodgers. However, with a lot of those deep counts, the strikeout also is a part of that, and the Phillies do strike out a lot. So here's Hernandez now, trying to convert on a modest 3-game hitting streak tonight. Oh, when Vargas works the edges, he's tough as he starts with an edge strike to Hernandez.
Oh, he's got to. He's not going to throw it by hitters. It's not even that he has a lot of break on it, but he'll get chases because of that velocity and when he's able to widen the strike zone.
Vargas is the type of guy that is easily overlooked. You look at him, his average fastball is 86. You take him for granted. All of a sudden, you're 0 for 3, and he's won the game.
One. Well, Vargas is a guy that likes to try to make you expand your strike zone, while Hernandez is a guy that doesn't chase very often. StatCast AI powered by AWS. Only Joey Votto and Mookie Betts have a lower chase rate than Cesar Hernandez this year.
Very underrated player, and one that is a very valuable asset in October because of at-bats like this. He's able to lay off the sucker pitch.
Hoskins next, and then Carlos Santana. Runner at second with 2 gone. And Hernandez calls time at the very 11th hour. Best opportunity the Phillies have had, their only opportunity really to manufacture a little offense against Vargas, who again retired 7 in a row to start the ball game. And a called strike fills the count. We have confirmation that the Mets staff is back in the dugout. Zach Wheeler and company have left the stands, said goodbye to Team Staten Island, and returned to their spots on the third base side. And Hernandez rolls over. Frazier's got to hurry. Barehanded pickup. Throw to first is too late. And there are runners at the corners with 2 gone.
And a little sinker. Gets a running start out of the box. Todd Father does all he can, just too much speed.
Well, you know this too, Alex. One of the best jumps you'll get as a right-handed batter is the one that you're reaching out over the plate. And it was a miss hit, but he already had that two-step jump because of the miss hit.
So a great opportunity for Philadelphia now with their leading RBI man, Rhys Hoskins. Runners at the corners with 2 gone. Hoskins grounded out short in his first try and takes a strike. When Rhys Hoskins went on the DL, and he certainly doesn't need any reminding of how he landed there, fouled off a Kenley Jansen cutter. It landed on his face, went onto the DL with a .233 average and 8 home runs. Since coming off the DL, he has been the Rhys Hoskins that terrorized the National League last August and September. Since June 9th, the date he was reactivated, only Matt Carpenter has hit more home runs in baseball, and only JD Martinez has driven in more runs. Big fella's done his share of damage. Into the opposite field. Bautista takes a look, and that one is just foul. Wow. Oh, Rhys thought he had a 3-run shot. Little leaguers want it reviewed. It's clearly foul.
Phew.
Ball and 2 strikes on Hoskins. Who were the kids that were giving the thumbs down? What team was that, Jess? Was that the Hawaii team?
Team Japan.
They were giving the thumbs down for the guy calling it the right way.
And did you see the kid in the front row was the one giving the big boos and the thumbs down, and the kid behind him, some veteran leadership, tapped him on the shoulder, shook his head. No, you're not supposed to do that.
Well, if you watch Japan play, every time they come up to bat, they bow to the umpire, they bow to the catcher, and they bow to the pitcher.
That's great.
Definitely not supposed to probably give the thumbs down, but no, I didn't like that call. We want home runs.
These kids want to see homers.
Well, and there's new bat rules in Little League this year, so we've only seen, I think, 3 home runs total. The new bats are actually like wood bats
with a
in
different
Little League.
sound.
Yes, they're.
I actually miss the old sound.
Ping, ping. Yep, that's a sound you crave when you're a young hitter.
We had the wrong team. It was
right?
the
It was
Hawaiian
Hawaii.
team.
Oh, yeah. That's Sean Yamaguchi right there with the thumbs
Hawaii.
down.
Matt, you were right.
They want to see the homer.
I love the emotion, the passion.
Shock us.
If they're looking to surf, they're going to look for a long time.
I'll tell you what, that's the best. You want the scouting report? That's the best team here.
Really?
Oh,
Really?
Team Hawaii, and
What,
they played the longest game, tied for the longest game in Little League World Series history. We were here until practically Saturday morning, and they played 11 innings and no errors. I mean, you could have seen the defense, the way that they were pitching deep into their bullpen, because you have to, because Little League rules, and then they win it on a walk-off. And I just said that no one's hitting home runs.
Hoskins pops it up. And that will retire the side. Vargas able to wiggle out of a jam and strand a pair. Hawaii getting ready to take on New York in their next Little League World Series game. New York leading the Phillies tonight. As little leaguers, well, for one of us at least, it was a very indistinguished run with Moraga's shell station. Alex, of course, getting ready to crush everybody, and Jess dominating in Southern California.
Yeah, Buster!
Buster, is that a chew?
No, it's a hot dog.
Thank you.
Buster played Little League Baseball in the black and white days, apparently. Here we are celebrating Players Weekend with jerseys of our own, along with Alex and Jess. Matt and Buster's on the field as well. What does that say? Dozer?
Yeah, Dozer, Mendoza. Nice, you know, I'd blow up people.
Were you number 21 with the U.S. Olympic team?
No, I was number 2 because someone had 21, but Lori Harrigan. But Roberto Clemente was a huge influence of mine, so I had 21 my whole life.
Got it. And
Dozer.
Alex,
it's like the current second baseman for the Dodgers. There it is. What do you got, Matty?
You didn't wear a Rangers jersey, you said? Yankee jersey, as we would guess. I'm wearing an A's jersey because that's my squad, and I'm number 19. Campy Campaneris was my favorite all-time Oakland A, and Tony Gwynn, of course, in honor of the late Padres. So
nice.
Love it. Buster, is Buster jerseyed up with a nickname as well?
The podcast.
Of course I am, and my nickname is Buster, which I got on the second day of my life.
Yeah, and why number 3, Buster?
Well, because my first Little League team were the Mets, and I picked number 3 because I loved Bud Harrelson, the longtime Mets shortstop.
Of course.
So all the way through high school, I wore number 3.
Austin Jackson, meanwhile, leads things off in the 4th. Jackson, Bautista, and Plawecki against Nick Pavetta, who got it back together in the tune of a 1-2-3 third after allowing 4 runs on 5 singles in the 2nd.
Buster, I also wear number 3, of course, for great Dale Murphy. And of course, we used to watch him on TBS when there were one of 3 teams that we can watch on cable television.
Did you really? You wore number 3 for Dale Murphy?
Because of Dale Murphy.
Wow.
But when I came to New York, that number was taken.
Right. That's right.
Kind of.
So here's my question for you, though, Alex, is that on the day that they handed out the jerseys, were you the kid like I was, basically pushing away the front saying, I want number 3? Like,
yeah.
I'm going to come in here and push you out of the way to get number 3.
I mean, I didn't get in a lot of fights as a kid, but I will get in a fight for that number. I love that number. It was my favorite.
Let me make it clear. I never got into a fight in my size.
Here's Jose Bautista now after the leadoff walk. Jackson aboard to start the 4th. I tell you, Joey Bats has bad intentions tonight. He has taken a couple of really healthy hacks. A reminder, the Mets return home tomorrow to start a 7-game homestand with the Giants and Nationals. Come to Citi Field and see Conforto, Frazier, and Nimmo, who they hope is healed up in time to play this week. Get your tickets now at Mets.com. And it's 0-2 to Jose Bautista.
You talked about him looking like he's going to do damage. I think he's a guy who could move before the August 31st deadline by which teams have to add players to be eligible for the postseason. He is just a threat, whether he goes to some team as a part-time player, platoon guy, or a pinch hitter.
Not sure what the expectations were when he went to New York, but Bautista has been a steady contributor and a pretty good RBI man for them.
And off the foul ball, he's smelling the wood. And a lot of time you get a little burning sensation. There's a little bit of a smell. I never did that. I would just lick my bat. Like Puig.
Also gross. You know, I'll be interested to see what Jose Bautista chooses to do next year, beyond whether or not he moves before the August deadline. As a veteran, he steps out to give Wilson Ramos a moment, who got a little nicked up on the play. Oh boy, Wilson does not get that throwing hand out of harm's way. You see a lot of catchers set up with the throwing hand behind their backs.
And man, that was a cross-up. He's looking for a breaking ball there, and he gets a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He is lucky he's still in the game. Caught a break.
Still a ball and 2 strikes to Jose Bautista. A ball and 2 strikes to Jose Bautista. On the appeal, no swing.
And Buster, to your point, Bautista becomes a very interesting asset, especially if you got to go up against a team like Boston, where 2 out of the 3 or 4 pitchers are left-handers, and Chris Sale and David Price. All of a sudden, he becomes a pivotal guy for the opposition.
Well, he'll be 38 during the postseason this year. 15 years in the big leagues, an all-star for 6 straight seasons. I'm sure he still wants to contribute, thinking there's gas left in the tank. The question will be, after this year, does somebody want to take the chance and give a 38-year-old position player an opportunity? That swing says yes.
Well, you look at the way he's swinging the bat tonight, he looks like a 28-year-old, and not all 38-year-olds are built the same. He is in great shape. Here he has taken a fastball inside and still has a lightning bat speed right here. Boom. And Matt, you referred to him early. He's had bad intentions all night. He's in great shape. He's a plus defender. He throws well, runs the bases. This guy can still play baseball at a high level.
And here's the other thing that I think will work well in his favor. He's demonstrated this year he's okay with being a part-time player. That's always was a question as he got to the end of his time with Toronto. Would he be willing to embrace a part-time role? And boy, he's doing a nice job of it since he joined the Mets.
A walk and a single open the 4th against Nick Pivetta. Now it's Kevin Plawecki. Yeah, to finish the thought on Bautista, he's had a pretty nice week. He opened it with a home run on Monday night against Luis Severino on a 99.5-mile-an-hour fastball. A couple of singles for him tonight.
The other part that I see, Matt, is he's hungry, he's humbled a bit, and he's ready to go. You look into his eye, he has the eye of the tiger, playing good baseball.
I still think that the home run he hit 2 seasons ago in the division series against the Texas Rangers that electrified Rogers Center, that was so impactful, the camera positions were shaking. I mean, that was one of the postseason moments in the last 2 decades that to me stands out beyond compare. And it was a division series. A curveball hammered into left field. Hoskins back, drifting near the wall and making the catch. Del Reese will be the first to tell you he's still learning the nuances of playing left field, and gets to that ball without a little hop to spare.
Well, and it helps, honestly, to be able to see that big wall out of the corner of your eye. Normally a first baseman can ride back. One of the hard things to do is to go back knowing that you have this big beast of a wall behind you. He does a nice job, even like a little bit of a jump. Watch him kind of get up a little bit at the end just in case that wall was there. But a nice grab, being able to go back with the element right behind him.
So now Jason Vargas, the first out for Pivetta.
Pivetta is not tricking anybody with his fastball nor his breaking ball.
Approaching 70 pitches now, and under the watchful eye of his manager. Phillies bullpen is active for the first time tonight. You know, given the fact that these 2 teams are finishing up a 5-game series, and Buster, when you consider the doubleheader and the pitching haul that the Phillies have had to pull this week, using all but 1 bullpen member on Wednesday before the doubleheader the following day, it's not exactly a fresh group down there. A short one from Pivetta was the last thing that Gabe Kapler was thinking of today.
That's exactly right. I mean, let's face it, the other day in that first game of that doubleheader against the Mets, because he knew he had this stretch of games, Gabe Kapler wound up using position players for 3 of 8 innings that they had, or 3 of 9 innings. That tells you where they are with the pitching staff right now. And as Alex pointed out, the 26th man added for today has to be a position player, not the pitcher.
So Adam Morgan up in the bullpen for Philadelphia. 2 balls and a strike. Count to Vargas now to 2-2. Phillies have already won more games this year than in all of 2017. And improved starting pitching is really at the center of that new success. Two-two curveball strikes him out. The addition of Jake Arrieta, the ace Aaron Nola, who has been one of the best in all of baseball this year. Their starters ERA ranked 4th in the National League. Their WHIP is 2nd. As a group, they don't walk many, and there's plenty of swing and miss. A very good starting staff.
And the season that Aaron Nola is having, he's going to join us in the top of the 5th inning. And think about who the top pitchers in the National League are right now. We got 2 of them in the house, Jacob deGrom and Aaron Nola. Max Scherzer probably the other 3rd that you could argue those 3. But I think Aaron Nola, and honestly how they've utilized him, have Gabe Kapler, all the criticism early on in the season, coming in with a sabermetric kind of philosophy.
Ahmed Rosario with a ground ball to the left side that, while doesn't go into left field, is good enough to load the bases here in the 4th.
Nice play here to keep the ball in the infield. That's all you can do, and you save a run.
Very bottom.
8 singles for the Mets lineup tonight, and that's going to be all for Nick Pivetta with a left-handed hitter scheduled. Gabe Kapler makes the move for Adam Morgan, the first pitching change of the night. We'll be right back. The lower price for just $49.99. Watch every out-of-market regular season game, plus get a free subscription to MLB At Bat Premium. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv to take advantage of this special offer. Well, it did not go as well for Nick Pivetta tonight as it had gone for his previous 3 starts. Again, more damage tonight against Pivetta than had happened in his entire month combined. Seemed kind of shaking his head. 8 singles, and he's going to hope that left-hander Adam Morgan can cool things off with the bases loaded and 2 away here in the 4th. Morgan, the lone left-hander in the Phillies bullpen, will go to work on Jeff McNeil. McNeil 0 for 2 against Pivetta. Came in tonight with 3 multi-hit lines in his last 6 starts. And a aggressively fouls off the first pitch. Austin Jackson up in the inning with a walk. He's at third. Bautista singled, as did Rosario. And for Jeff McNeil, who just came up from AAA at the end of July, he is in the midst of his first major league bases loaded plate appearance. In play to the right side and foul.
Earlier, Jeff McNeil made a great effort, but to Alex's point earlier, just didn't know. This is where coming to a stadium you've never played in. He's still a good 5 feet away. He's lucky he did not get hurt. Fence caught him off guard, took him out, flipped over the fence. He had a smile on his face coming back over. I love it. He chokes up the entire at bat, not just 2 strikes. He's got 2 strikes right now. But he comes up there, takes an inch or 2 off the bat. We see more guys go to that, definitely when you get behind in the count. But the thing I remember as a kid, you did it just pure contact. It takes away your power. But we've seen so many big leaguers go to that and still be able to have the power. Just gives you a little bit more back control.
And he gets it past Cabrera into left field. 1 run will score. Here's the throw to the plate. A second run crosses. The tag is applied on McNeil, but not before the damage is done. On an 0-2 pitch, a 2-run opposite field single. The Mets' advantage grows. To the bottom of the inning now, 6-0 New York. Cricket Wireless as we look at young Nick Pivetta, who didn't hold up as well as young Jason Vargas. Of course, they're full-grown adult selves tonight, and Vargas has been great. 3 scoreless innings. Pivetta gone after 3 2/3 this evening, and as good as he'd been all month. A little speed bump for him tonight. Carlos Santana leads things off in the home half of the 4th. Santana, Ramos, and Cabrera. Carlos grounded out in his first at-bat tonight. Entered play just 7 for his last 38. That's a 184 batting average over his last 12.
It's easy to look at the ERA of Jason Vargas and take it for granted. And if you do, it's a mistake. I mean, here's a guy that was an all-star last year. I know he has struggled as of late, but he won 18 games. He has 15 years in the major leagues. And talking to pitching coach Dave Island today, he could not say enough great things about Jason Vargas' makeup, the way he goes about his business, the way he works at it, and the good energy he spreads. He's been with him for over 5 years, going back to Kansas City. And he said in 5 years, this was telling, I've never heard him complain once about anything.
Wow.
So when you bring a guy like that into a clubhouse, it brings a lot of positive energy.
Well, it's exceptional given the way things have not gone well for him in his first year as a Met. And here's Wilson Ramos now with one away. Well, when Vargas is working well, and you guys touched on this earlier, it's pinpoint control. His changeup's able to move right-handed hitters off the plate. He's working the periphery of the strike zone because he's not going to blow anybody away. His average fastball velocity of just less than 87 miles an hour is the 4th lowest among all qualified starters.
But it's that last pitch that he just threw with the swing and miss right there, the changeup. I mean, that's the pitch. And when you have, yes, one of the slowest velocities in the bigs, it doesn't mean you can't get guys with your fastball. It's that pitch back-to-back changeup. He gets a swing and miss prior to that, and we talked up Wilson Ramos how big of a bat that is, but then he goes, backs it up twice, and how dirty that pitch is to get him striking out.
First strikeout of the game for Jason Vargas. ESPN Technologies built for baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile using our front row camera. A well-located changeup, a good 8 inches off the plate that Wilson Ramos couldn't lay off of. And here's his Drupal Cabrera now with 2 gone.
The signature pitch is a changeup. The most important pitch is a fastball, working it in and out. And one of the things that's interesting, while the average fastball is 86 to 87, he still throws his fastball over 60% with a lot of conviction, and he pitches into righties to then set up the changeup.
Hockey suit back up the box. Vargas knocked it down, recovers, and is able to get Cabrera.
Kind of took his time, too.
And remember, he broke his hand, Matt, in spring training. That's the same hand, the glove hand. So keep an eye on that.
Still 6-0 New York. ESPN presented by Taco Bell, the Little League Classic, and the Mets so far on top 6-0 as we take a look at who's flipping the switch, brought to you by Boost Mobile. It's Aaron Nola, who Friday night in a 4-2 victory went 7 innings, allowed only 1 earned run on 3 hits, struck out 11, making it his 5th double-digit strikeout game of the season. He has now allowed 2 earned or fewer in 9 of his last 10 starts. He is unquestionably the ace of the staff, and without a doubt a legit Cy Young candidate in 2018. Taking some time to join us from Williamsport. Aaron, thanks for the visit. First, before we get into your season, I want to hear in your words the experience here with the kids and at the Little League Classic. How have you enjoyed this?
I've enjoyed it a lot. I think both teams have enjoyed it too. For a lot of us, it's the first time over here. My first time in Williamsport, first time at the ballparks. I think the best part about the whole thing was interacting with all the kids. You know, I think we all saw ourselves, kind of went back in time and kind of relived everything. But I mean, what they're doing right now, playing at this stage at the World Series, is pretty amazing.
Aaron, I saw you earlier today. I was doing the Panama game. You were getting interviewed by some of the kids, getting questions, autographs. What was like one of the maybe more random, funny questions you were getting? Because you were surrounded by a lot of players trying to pick your brain.
They really didn't give me any funny ones. One of them asked how I got ready before games. I kind of went on track there, but they really didn't give me too many hard questions. But I think on our bus coming here, they had like a little dance off. So you saw it, the floss cam. So one of the guys did all the Fortnite dances. So I mean, they're cool to see have fun.
Aaron, I remember facing you in Clearwater a few years ago, and I realized then that you had a very special career ahead of you. My question to you is, you've gone from good to great. What do you attribute it to?
I think over the past couple of years, just learning my body and learning a lot about myself as a person and a player. I got hurt back in 2016, and I kind of tweaked some things in my mechanics and started using my legs a little more, and that's kind of helped me in my delivery and staying over the rubber a lot. And I think that, and then not trying to overthink things, just trying to keep everything simple. I think just putting all those together has really helped me out.
Aaron, you're a Louisiana guy, clearly. I mean, we get that in 5 minutes of conversation from you. You have not lost the Baton Rouge in the accent, which we love. But since you're a Philly hero now, do you have a cheesesteak favorite? Jim's, Pat's, Geno's, Tony Luke's? Do you want to endorse one of the cheesesteaks on American television live in front of a huge audience tonight?
A lot of people know this, but I like Jim's better than both Pat's and Geno's. I think they got the best ones.
Why? Tell us. I want to hear. You're making me hungry.
I don't know. I think everybody just goes Pat's and Geno's. Those are big, well-known names, and I feel like Jim's kind of sticks on the down low. Not many people really go there, so I like Jim's a lot.
Aaron, you got a lot of good pitchers in the National League. One of the better ones, obviously, you, and then Jacob deGrom was across the way. How much have you enjoyed being able to watch some of these other pitchers and even some of the guys that you've tried to maybe learn from?
It's really, really cool to watch those guys. Jacob last night against us threw a heck of a game. I mean, this is as dominant as you can get, pretty much. I feel like just watching those guys, for him, not only does he throw hard, he spots all of his pitches up, which is, I feel like, different in today's game. A lot of guys come out of the bullpen throwing that hard. They just kind of grip and rip, and you know, he's spotting up his fastball, his changeup, and his slider and his curveball. So I mean, that just makes him even harder to hit.
Hey, Aaron, we appreciate the visit today. Keep doing it, man. We really appreciate your time. Congrats on such a great season, and good luck down the stretch.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Phillies ace Aaron Nola joining us from the home dugout tonight here in Williamsport, with Players Weekend coming up this weekend. Nicknames being what I should have asked Aaron while he was with us. Did you guys see the nickname on the back of Aaron's jersey?
It's probably nasty, because I faced this in the spring training, Matt, and you know, he caught me already when I had a little gray in my beard, a little bit older. He threw me a fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. I don't think I saw one. I went back and I told Jeter, I said,
recall.
This guy is going to be special. I didn't know he was going to be Cy Young special, but Awesome stuff.
Was that one of those moments where you knew you were closer to you know, Boca del Vista Phase 2 than not?
Absolutely. I was thinking about making it more of a tee times at that point.
1 ball and 1 strike to count to Todd Frazier. 2 gone, bases empty here in the 5th. Todd's got the family here with him today, and if you follow Todd on social media, you'll know that that young man closest to you has a serious future of his own.
Well, hello, did you see that lefty swing? Even bat flipped the pretend bat afterwards.
That's in play to the left side. Kingery's got to hurry. Gloves and throws a couple of steps better than Frazier to make for a 1-2-3 5th for Adam Morgan. The Frazier boys don't care if Daddy just recorded an out or hit a slam.
They love him anyway. They love him anyway.
Playing in front of that many fans and in a state-of-the-art facility like that, and just to be able to be, you know, playing on TV, it's something that you look at and you're like, all right, I think I could see myself doing this forever. It's just something that you experience it and you just hold on to that feeling. And when I played there, I thought, all right, this is something that I want to make a career out of.
Scott Kingery from the Ahwatukee Little League squad to Major League stardom, 2nd round draft choice out of Arizona. And of course signed a big deal that'll keep him in a Phillies uniform for the foreseeable future. A very sharp learning curve and quick timeline for Scott Kingery, as it may be for some of the Little Leaguers here tonight. Welcome back to the 2nd annual Little League Classic. And as you heard earlier, Commissioner Rob Manfred making the announcement that next year's game will be played August 18th here in Williamsport. And it'll feature the Pittsburgh Pirates and Chicago Cubs.
The Cubs fans have booked up all the hotels in the 13 seconds since that announcement.
Nick Williams leads things off in the Phillies half of the 5th. They have been stymied tonight by Jason Vargas. 4 shutout innings. He's limited the Phils to just 2 singles so far tonight. And he makes Williams chase for his 2nd strikeout of the night.
Well, we talked about the importance of fastball command. When you're throwing 85 to 87 miles an hour, it's all about command, glove side command, getting inside to these right-handed batters. And what that allows is for him to hit that spot, back them off, move their feet, and then what? Arm side command away to be able to get them looking. And this is what he's done a great job of all night long. And yeah, he's not going to blow it by him with anything above 90. Really nothing below, above 87 miles an hour. But for him to command both in and away, he's done that tonight.
Sight for sore eyes for Mets fans as Scott Kingery digs in. And, you know, as easy, Alex, as it would be to pile on what has been kind of a lost season for the Mets, Jason Vargas is likely not involved in the long-term answer. He's got one more year left on his contract, and he's 35 years old. They'll welcome his contributions next year for sure. But a lot of people feel like a fix is not that hard to find if you're a Mets fan. Like, they're not that close despite the last place standing in the division.
I think the Mets are in a good place, and bear with me a little bit here. You've seen the Cubs and Theo Epstein, what he did. You saw what Houston Astros did. And now you have the Mets. And for me, the Mets have a clear path at winning a world championship in 3 to 4 years. And the reason why I say that, you have already a great staff in DeGrom. You have Syndergaard, you have Wheeler, and you have Matz, the left-hander. Now what you need to do is go out and get a lockdown closer, a guy that can close like Familia 45 or 50 games. And then you maybe bring back a guy like Daniel Murphy to play first base. What they need is a personality. The Mets have always been led by a face. It was Tom Seaver in 69. It was Keith Hernandez, 84, 85, 86. It was
David Wright.
Well, before him, you had Piazza, and then you had David Wright. And right now, you have a big empty hole, and who is that next personality? And then you got to go out and get a CEO, in this case, a GM, a baseball operations guy, that has full autonomy on full baseball control. Because ultimately, if you're going to give an architect the keys, you have to give him full control, like Hal Steinbrenner did with Brian Cashman. Now, I'm not sure what the Mets situation is, but I do see a world championship in 4 years if the hand is played right.
Well, the current situation is 3 experienced baseball men sharing the GM responsibilities. The current situation is for fans. This is New York. We've got the largesse of the biggest market in the free world. How come we, the Mets, aren't spending free agent dollars? Maybe that narrative changes this offseason. Manny Machado, Bryce Harper, there are no lack of options to spend money on. The question is, who will be doing that spending? Who's going to be put in charge? And how much money will that new GM be given to play with? Buster, are there any clues out there in the universe?
Yeah, I think the Mets absolutely would love to talk to Ben Cherington, of course, the former Red Sox general manager, but it's unclear whether or not he can go there. And I got to tell you, talking with executives with other teams.
That's into the corner. Hold that thought as Conforto plays it off the wall. Into second with a safe slide is Scott Kingery with a 1-out double.
The 2006 alum, Kingery hits a rocket and flying around first, and his father loves it, who was right here in Williamsport in 2006. Pretty cool. Buster, I'm sorry, continue, please.
Yeah, in talking with executives with other teams, they wonder if the Mets can get one of these young progressive general managers who's had some success elsewhere, because they feel like that, look, because of the chain of command questions within the Mets organization, can you get somebody like that? Or are you going to have to hire some young executive who doesn't have a lot of experience, or maybe an older guy who's looking for one last opportunity to be a general manager? I agree with you, Alex. That's the big question above all else. What is the Mets chain of command going to be? Because there has been a perception within the organization that ownership sometimes gets involved in the day-to-day stuff more than it should.
Look, at the end of the day, Buster, if you're playing chess, you want Bobby Fischer to be playing on your side. And the Mets organization, regardless of how they're doing today, is one of the great franchises in Major League sports, not just baseball. If you think about all the great young Ivy League minds out there that are both hybrids of great baseball lovers and really intellectual firepower, they grew up watching the Mets. I was one of those kids in '86. I grew up watching the Mets. So why not go out and get one of these stellar minds to go out and run this franchise for Fred Wilpon and Jeff Wilpon?
0-2 meanwhile to Odubel Herrera, trying to get the skunk out of the box, if you will, and plate the first run of the night for Philadelphia. A ball and 2 strikes. up the middle, played by Rosario for out number 2. Kingery to third with 2 gone. Todd Frazier's been busy tonight. He's been busy watching Little League games and commenting earlier on tonight's home plate umpire Chris Guccione officiating Little League games this weekend.
Guccione just did the Little League game, and he had to play at second, bro, and he looked up at me, and we're going like this when I was up there. He made the right call. Guy tagged him on the head and just missed. He did the game at 2 o'clock.
Good out.
Swear.
All the umpires for Little League volunteer, and it's cool to see. I'm sure when they get a big league umpire out there with them, how much fun that's got to be.
Two gone now for the pinch hitter, Michael Franco. It's so hard, it's impossible for Todd Frazier, as you take a look at Franco's numbers to start tonight. A non-starter today. He's been a lot better in the second half as compared to the start he got off to this year. Frazier cannot suppress his inner New Jerseyan long enough. He even, did you notice how he pronounced Chris Guccione's name? Guccione. It's like the guys on the Sopranos say, go, go. Prosciutto, right? That last foul is silent.
One of the great guys in baseball.
And he still plays like he did. I mean, it's so cool to see his swing in that Little League World Series game and how identical it looks to his swing now. How unchanged he's been. Big kid.
0-2 to Franco. It looked like Franco wanted time there and didn't get it. A ball and 2 strikes. It was around the time when Michael Franco trade rumors really were at their hottest that he flipped the script on his season. A lot of reports had him sent to San Diego prior to the deadline. He ended up staying put and has rewarded the Phillies' faith. 2 balls and 2 strikes to him now. You go back even further to June 16th when he kind of bottomed out, and since that point a .325 batting average and an OPS over 900. Two balls and 2 strikes. Kingery at third with 2 gone. Another scoreless inning by Jason Vargas. The veteran left-hander, the story for the Mets in Williamsport tonight. on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. The Little League Classic, and so far it has been a New York Mets affair tonight, with a 6-0 lead as we start the top of the 6th inning, and the Phillies go back to the bullpen for right-hander Yaxel Rios, who is up with the major league team for his 5th different big league call-up stint. Rios will get the 6, 7, 8 batters for New York: Austin Jackson, Jose Bautista, and Kevin Plawecki. Austin Jackson scored 2 of the 6 Mets runs so far tonight. He has reached base safely on a walk and a single. One and one. Phillies bullpen, though much maligned to start the season, has rounded into shape since the All-Star break, and dating back a little further with one very important activation that made the rest of the bullpen work.
Neshek coming into that bullpen, it's amazing. And this happens to lineups too, Alex, and you can attest to this, but when you put a guy into a significant part of the bullpen, since that point that you're talking about, July 1st, I mean, this has been one of the best bullpen ERAs in the major leagues, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that a lot of the dudes moved into more comfortable positions in the bullpen that they could have better success with, and Pat Neshek was able to help that.
You know, one thing the Phillies bullpen does not have is a bona fide closer. A bunch of guys have kind of shared that responsibility. Sir Anthony Dominguez is the hand for the moment in the 9th inning. But man, it's tough on an experienced veteran manager, let alone a rookie manager like Gabe Kapler, to try to manage a bullpen that's very young. To your point, Jess, Neshek has really helped them this year. Look out. That went behind Jackson. 2-2.
What puts more pressure on this bullpen that doesn't have a closer, man, and that's a split that just got away from him a little bit, is Nick Pivetta. And tonight, a guy that's a swing and miss expert. Tonight, the Mets took 36 swings, only missed 4 times. That's around 10%. Pivetta on average is 30% swing and misses. So Buster, that brings back the idea. Maybe it's just an off night. The other one, maybe Bautista and company had something that he was tipping.
Strikeout recorded for Rios, and there's one gone in the 6th. Throughout the baseball season, Geico is donating tickets to honor military members and their families at major league stadiums around the country through the Geico Seats per Service program. And tonight, we welcome Sergeant First Class Harry Williams and his family from the U.S. Army Reserves. He's also a coach. His sons played Little League Baseball. Jose Bautista started with a strike.
I love that smile sitting on daddy's lap. Gosh, we've seen so many smiles, boys and girls, playing the game all week long. Little League, just the enjoyment of whether you're watching and taking in a ball game, playing the game.
Just my favorite part, everyone in the building tonight, free.
Yep.
Everybody gets in for free, and that's a great tribute to Major League Baseball, Tony Clark and the Player Association, and ESPN. So
we even had some clever fans that have tried to get in.
Yeah.
Earlier they were building stuff. They had ladders. Any way that they can take in this ball game. They couldn't get a ticket. One of the hardest tickets in the house.
You know, it's free if you're in the ballpark, and it's also free if you live just outside the ballpark, as these enterprising fans have discovered.
Our director Jeff Evers told us that they built that today. Just so that they could even cut some of the trees back so they could clear the view. I mean, that's dedication. Come to town.
They built their own
Oh yeah,
I
that
love
is great. Take out half a tree. We didn't see this.
Hand up the lawn chairs, right? And you have a King of the Hill episode happening right here live and in person.
Teamwork and then a cold cerveza.
that's a good seat.
I would do anything to be up there.
Might put you up there.
Don't be careful what you wish for. Those guys have an empty seat, Alex.
I love it. A little cerveza.
Even offering it to you.
Hey, a reminder, the Phillies come home on Monday, August 27th to begin a 6-game homestand against the Nationals and Cubs. Come out to Citizens Bank and see Hoskins, Santana, and Hernandez all in action. Get your tickets now at Phillies.com or build a scaffold right outside the outfield fence and watch the game for free.
And that's not even a Taco Bell sponsor.
Kevin Plawecki.
Did you guys notice they didn't even use chainsaws? Just a circular saw, just run it up there? That's impressive right there.
I didn't notice, but I'm glad you did, Buster. The type of saw that was being used.
That's not a chain. That is a circular saw. Sorry, I'm farm kid.
Well, I mean, they probably just got finished making a dining room set downstairs, and they're like, hey, you got the saw. Come up on the scaffold with it. 0-2 the count to Kevin Plawecki. I mean, for players, this reminds them of their Little League days and their minor league days, as this is an active minor league ballpark, and it does so for me as well as a minor league radio announcer for a long number of years. This takes me right back to my first job at St. Cloud Commons in Huntington, West Virginia. Wow. Short season A-ball team with the Chicago Cubs in the Appalachian League, because that's how they pronounce it in that part of the world. It's not Appalachian, Appalachian League, where we all kind of rode the buses together, stirred the nacho cheese sauce at 2 p.m., vacuumed the press box after the game.
Some more good seats.
I love minor league baseball.
I can hear your voice.
Oh,
it's the best.
You can spend a lot of time in the minors, though, Alex.
Appleton, Wisconsin. What a great place to start a career. Sold out every night. Great teammates.
How many years did you spend in the minors? I feel like I should know the answer to that.
It was like months. 2.5, 3 months, something like that.
Not even a full season.
But it was a great journey.
I got to play here at Bowman. The U.S. Olympic team tour came through Williamsport, PA, on our way to Beijing, China for the Olympics.
How was that?
Good crowd, good fans. I went yard, man. I like this field. I'll remember it.
It's an aggressive stride, by the way.
Great technique.
Don't you remember?
Jessica,
I remember.
Very hitterish. That's the look we're talking about right there. Great swing.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Kevin Plawecki. Wait a minute, what was that you said? How many states and how many days was that tour?
We did 40 states in like 53 days on our way to Beijing, China.
That sounds like a Bon Jovi concert.
It was insane. You talk about bus rides, all by bus too. And we went everywhere. It was amazing. It was crazy. But what was cool is then you got USA across your chest, and you really got USA behind you.
40 states,
saw
53. It's a wonder you won the gold medal. You guys, you almost have been just gassed.
We didn't in China. Thanks for that.
Oh, that's
yeah.
my bad.
Yeah, silver.
Silver.
Yeah, actually 10 years to today, so live that memory.
Congrats. Anniversary.
Full count, 3-2 to Kevin Plawecki.
No. Oh, no.
This is what you've devolved into.
So this is the famous hill. Okay, so anyone who's been to Williamsport.
Good job, buddy.
That's me with Marisol, who's the PA announcer for the Mets, one of the only female PA announcers.
Marisol Castro.
I hit a trash can. I'm a kid.
Plawecki bounces a base hit back up the middle. 2-out single here in the Mets half of the 6th.
So next year, since we just found out we're coming back, right? We got Cubs, Pirates next year. Rob Manfred just telling us that. You guys are doing that hill, okay? That is happening. We're going to get this in agreement. Yes, come on. It doesn't have to be as muddy. It's rained here a lot, but you guys have, you ditched me this year, by the way. You were supposed to join me.
We'll do it. We'll do it with you next year, Jess.
Get covered in mud. It is supposed to be a rite of passage. You come to Williamsport, anyone who's ever been to the Little League World Series, you slide that hill.
Jason Vargas making his 3rd plate appearance of the night. And if you're just hearing those words for the first time and not knowing what's happened this evening, you know it means good things for the Mets. Vargas has been outstanding this evening. And he slashes a base hit into the opposite corner.
Vargas is doing it all. He's pitching, he's throwing, and now he's hitting. Taking a sinker, fastball away, stays with it beautifully. Slap and dash.
So that flips the lineup card for Ahmed Rosario. Who on the first pitch lines into left. Plawecki will come around to score. 7-0 New York.
A lot of singles tonight, Alex.
It's a thing of beauty. Pat Resto, the hitting coach, loves this. There's a lot of contact, not necessarily the long ball, but line to line, good hitting all night long. And the trend, the positive trend continues for the Mets, hitting stellar away from Citi Field.
Boy, kind of a trend buster tonight as well is how well the Mets have performed with runners in scoring position. One of their real problems all year long. Again, a nationally low 241 batting average in that capacity at the start of the night. They're 6 for 8 RASP this evening. 0-1 the count to Jeff McNeil.
$12 hits for the Mets, all singles. Unusual.
It's the bottom of the lineup doing the job here in the 6th inning. By the way, I got a celebrity look-alike for Jason Vargas. Anybody? Bear with me here. Anybody watch Real Housewives of New Jersey?
No.
Yes? No?
No.
No.
Richie Wakile. Kathy's husband.
Our stage manager, Leslie
point?
Zeroli, is jumping
Leslie
up and
says
down.
thumbs up.
You got one.
Matt, I really want to talk to you. Serious talk. Are you watching that every night?
It's not on every night, Alex, but saw it a couple times a week.
Okay.
Every once in a while, you know, flipping around.
Get him to watch World of Dance.
I'm
or some other
available all
show.
week to talk if you want to talk.
Ball and 2 strikes to McNeil. And on the appeal, he swung the bat. That's how the inning comes to a close. Not before the Mets can tack on another on 3 more singles.
This will be you. This could be you.
Oh, Jessica.
Oh, no.
Fail.
Oh,
Fail.
this is
In
an
the
epic.
boots.
Look at the boots.
Coachella, anyway. Taco Bell is brought to you by Mother's High Performance Car Care Products, formulated for fanatics. And Chevy, the most awarded and fastest growing brand the last 4 years overall. Let's check in with Buster, who's standing by with a special guest.
Matt, talk about having a day, okay? I'm here with Gregory Bruno, who's with Staten Island Little League team. And think about what happened for him today. Pitched 5 1/3 innings, beats Texas, an undefeated team to that point. Then he was in our broadcast booth talking with Jake Arrieta, and just a little while ago you had the Mets behind us, including Jacob deGrom. What's your favorite part of your day?
Well, you know, my favorite part of the day, you know, was talking to all these, you know, like successful pitchers. Like I was always asking them, you know, like, you know, how, like, what advice would you give me to be as successful as you are? So, you know, I absorbed that information, so it's pretty good to put in my head for when I get older.
How much fun was this for you to hang out with the big leaguers today?
Yeah, pretty fun, you know. Like, only once in a lifetime you're gonna see, like when you're like a little leaguer, you're gonna see like players that were successful at the time, so that's pretty cool.
Tell me a part of the conversation you had with Jake Arrieta that you're always gonna remember.
Yeah, well, with Jake Arrieta, I know he's like a really successful guy when it comes to pitching, so. And that's what I want to be. I want to be a pitcher, like if I was ever going to make it in Major League Baseball. So, like when I talked to him, I was very like talking, like I was like thinking if I should ask this question, because he's a very knowledgeable guy. So that was pretty cool.
They had all the Mets pitchers sitting in the row behind us. What was the conversation like with those guys? Because it looked like they came over, gave you bubble gum, and then began to chat with you guys?
Yeah, I was talking to Zach Wheeler about, pitch grips and, like maybe like good guys in the clubhouse at the time, But I was mostly talking to Zach Wheeler about pitch grips and, how to correctly throw like a curveball or a changeup, and like good ways to throw a curveball or a changeup. So that's what I was talking about with Zach Wheeler.
What's it been like to hang out with players from other teams?
Yeah, it's pretty cool, like I'm a Yankees fan myself, so, and it's pretty cool to talk to someone from the Philadelphia Phillies. Like, you're not, like, if you're from New York, you're not really going to see someone from Philadelphia because, they're a national team and the Yankees are an American team. So that was pretty cool to meet them too.
Heck of a day for you, Gregory. Thank you. Matt, back to you.
What
awesome.
A great.
Good stuff. I love it. That young man, by the way, has allowed 1 run in his last 19 innings of work.
What a great kid, too. Just getting it, taking it in, asking all these players questions, absorbing it. One of the coolest moments, I'd have to say, my favorite today was watching Noah Syndergaard in the stands.
Cesar Hernandez with a fly ball out to center.
And he was sitting with some of the Spanish players, the players from Spain. Ronald Vizcaíno, one of the pitchers, awesome pitcher, by the way, from Barcelona, Spain, and he's talking pitch grips, okay? So they're going back and forth. You got to understand language barriers happening, but in the sport of baseball, I mean, you think about just the conversation that they were having, and Vizcaíno, by the way, is a great story from Spain. He's a kid that grew up 45 minutes away from the closest baseball field, did not have a car in his family, so took the bus every day to be able to get to practice, to play the game that he loves. And now we're sitting here in Williamsport. He might not even know who Noah Syndergaard is, okay? He's from Barcelona, Spain, and now he's sitting there talking baseball, talking grips. And oh, by the way, right after that, he showed Noah Syndergaard how he throws his splitter. And Noah was like, really? It was pretty cool. It was special.
A strike to Rhys Hoskins, batting with 1 out and a 7-0 deficit. Boy, Vargas coming inside with a fastball to catch a strike.
If you're one of these kids here tonight and you want to be a Major League Baseball pitcher and you're not 6'5" and throws 100 like Syndergaard, this should be your role model. A guy that averages 86 to 87 and is putting on an absolute clinic on how to pitch, both with the fastball in and out and then the signature Bugs Bunny changeup. Fun to watch.
And I think that's the biggest message, because a lot of times as kids, you're looking for like the hardest throwing, biggest, fastest, but the relatability is really in, like to your point, the guys like Jason Vargas.
Into left and well hit. Off the wall in left field. Hoskins has to settle for a well hit single with 1 out in the 6th.
You'll see a little slider right here. Not too bad of a pitch, but better hitting from Hoskins. And just missed a home run by a couple of feet. Hoskins has shown all year long he can drive the ball to all parts of the field. We talked about Dale Murphy early in the year, right center, and you see there in a breaking ball, he hits it to left field.
Well, Hoskins is a guy that understands his swing too. I mean, he knows that his power is to pull. And as much as we can give credit all day long with guys and go middle opposite field, guys like Michael Conforto, Rhys Hoskins knows that that's what he does best. And when we've seen him go on the run that he's done, especially since coming off the DL, it's in part because he knows what pitches to get that he can drive to left field.
Boy, there's Vargas on the edges of the strike zone. Again, he's been terrific. For Rhys Hoskins, it's been the equivalent of a full season since he made his major league debut in August of last year. 164 games, and during that stretch, no National Leaguers hit more home runs. No National Leaguer has driven in more. No, Hoskins is a true superstar early in the stages of his major league career, and for him to have taken on a position change, considering he's never done anything save play first base on a baseball field, it tells you how exceptional his attitude is.
Well, attitude and production, Matt. If you think about the number that jumps off the page is 125 RBIs. In many ways, a forgotten trait, right? The ability to drive in and score runs. I love that. The other part I love about him is his ability to hit good pitching and make great contact consistently.
I love too, and our producer Andy Reichwell was telling us, because we reached out to all the players, right, to ask for pictures of them in Little League. Total typical like mom and dad for Rhys Hoskins, right? Didn't just send one, but they sent like a whole plethora of photos of his entire Little League career, which I just love. My parents.
Full count to Santana, and while we're on the topic, Rhys Hoskins through the years,
yes,
he's modified the approach a little bit since T-ball at the age of 3. Well, he was a star at Sacramento State, but hardly a guaranteed star at the big league level. High integrity player with a big time work ethic. A high drive to deep left field. Conforto watches, and that one is gone. That's what the Little Leaguers wanted to see. Superhuman feats of strength. And Carlos Santana happy to oblige.
And for Santana, he takes his 3-2 sinker away, 88 miles an hour for his 18th home run of the year. Palacalle for the Dominican stud here. Fastball, middle.
It brought the Little Leaguers to their feet too. You're right, Matt. As much as they love to see some good pitching, a little defense, 12 base hits for the Mets, they want that. And they were waiting for it. Got it pumped up.
We know Al wanted to see a dinger.
He needed to see a dinger.
Indeed.
Seth Lugo is up in the bullpen. It's the first bit of activity behind Jason Vargas tonight as we take another look at the 2-run shot from Santana.
Santana, a switch hitter here, hits a 3-2 fastball. His average is low, home runs are high, and having a switch hitter behind Hoskins is so valuable, especially as you come down the road. And a great reaction from the little guys.
So here's Wilson Ramos now. Phil's finally on the board.
Rob Thompson, the bench coach.
And Ramos has a base hit. That'll rattle around in left. Ramos thinking about second, and he'll get in there without a play at the bag. Making just his 4th start as a Philly. That's already his 5th extra base hit. And that's going to be all for Jason Vargas tonight.
Here's a changeup. On a 1-0 pitch, Ramos all over it.
Tough corner too here in left field. And that's why he's able to get into second base.
Vargas gone after a great start. With a 5-run lead, it'll be up to Seth Lugo out of the Mets bullpen. All forms of baseball and softball participation, making play opportunities available and fun for everybody. To learn more, go to playball.org. Well, a pitching change for the Mets, and Jason Vargas, who was great tonight, allowed 4 hits in the final 7 batters he faced. Ran out of gas here in the 6th and turns it over to Seth Lugo with a 5-run lead. Lugo pitches to his Asdrubal Cabrera with 2 runs in and 1 away here in the 6th. And as the Mets and Phillies anticipate Players Weekend next weekend with alternate jerseys and nicknames, it's Seth Lugo who once again wins the competition. On the ground is second for McNeil, and there are 2 away. Puerto Rican.
That's perfect.
Which is a cheeky nod to his ethnicity. His paternal grandfather, Puerto Rican. And Seth, who pitched for Team Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic in its most recent running, had a photo op with the Caribbean squad. There he is.
And that's what I love is the cross in with an international game also. Carlos Santana, our home run hitter tonight, he actually got his own phone out and wanted to take a selfie with Team Australia. I mean, he was so pumped because he had been watching their games. I saw both teams out there with Japan and Panama. And as much as the U.S. kids, you know, get so excited, to the influence of all the international players that play the game at the major league level, and to see their own influences and influencers, it's pretty cool.
Ball and a strike to count to Nick Williams. Well, having a team from Puerto Rico qualify for international competition is exceptional when you consider what their home country has gone through the last 18 to 24 months. The devastation from hurricane weather still very much a reality in Puerto Rico. And if anything, it's baseball and sports at the amateur level that's taken the biggest hit there. So it's wonderful to have them here with us in Williamsport this weekend.
And there were some great shots, a feature that ESPN had done on the Puerto Rican team and their home baseball field that still had the entire backstop on the field. And they had talked about how it's actually one of the better baseball fields in Puerto Rico to still play on. They had huge grins on their face. They're like, the fact that we can still have access to the field is a plus. And they were happy to represent their country here at the Little League World Series.
Still 2-2 to Nick Williams. Pinch hitter waiting on deck for the Phillies should it get that far. Justin Bour, whose clock as a Philly started just a couple of weeks ago with the trade from the Marlins. And a called strike 3 rings up Williams, gets Lugo out of the jam and limits the damage at only 2. Phillies are on the board in a 7-2 Mets lead. Tip our caps to our Sunday night baseball crew, the men and women behind our games every Sunday, and they too have Little League photos and experience to share.
Looking good.
Smiles. Our whole crew, I love it. Nobody gets out of getting embarrassed.
The fanatic, as per usual, speaking the language of baseball.
They were squirting water guns, all the little leaguers standing on top of the dugout.
Tommy Hunter takes over here in the top of the 7th inning. He'll face the 3-4-5 batters for the Mets in a 5-run Philly deficit. You saw Rhys Hoskins nicknamed Big Fella. Well, appropriately enough, as Tommy is a little bit larger. He's going by Bigger Fella tonight.
That's great. It works. He is bigger.
2 balls and a strike. The count to Wilmer Flores. Tommy Hunter is one of the 9 Phillies that has earned a save this year. Further proof to our earlier statement that it has been a bullpen by committee to close ball games much of the year. Hey, a reminder, the Little League World Series continues tomorrow from Williamsport with 3 more games on ESPN. 11 a.m. on ESPN Eastern, The kids from Rhode Island versus Australia. That's followed by Puerto Rico versus Panama. And then at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, Iowa versus Michigan. All 3 games are also streaming live on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere. There's Michael Conforto now with 1 gone. Michael 0 for 3 in his return to Williamsport tonight. Let's check in with Buster, who once again is with a special guest.
Yeah, Matt, I'm with Sean Yamaguchi, who is with Team Hawaii. And when I walked up to him, I said, hey, did you see Carlos Santana's home run? He said, no. And the reason why? Because?
We've been stuck out there doing signatures and taking pictures with everyone.
About how many autographs have you signed today?
About 100. It's crazy out there.
Okay, what's the coolest interaction that you've had with a player today?
So when we're out there coming out for the opening ceremony, Reese Hoskins came out and signed the jersey I had, and it was awesome. I love him.
Now, one of the best things here is that you get to hang out with players from other teams. Yes. What's another team you've really enjoyed?
Oh, I love Japan. Japan's awesome.
Why? What do they say?
When I'm up to bat and when I see them around, they always yell, Yamaguchi-san, hi.
What's this experience been like for you to come to Williamsport?
It's crazy. I've had this dream for so long. I've always grew up watching it, and it's just crazy.
That's awesome. Sean, Matt, back to you.
Man, these young guys, honestly, personality plus.
I mean, unbelievable. How poised.
Oh, and he gets it too. I mean, I'll tell you what, it's cool to watch little Sean there on the field. They had a big game against Georgia, and he's giving knuckles all around to the other team. I mean, just like bear hugging everybody, umpires.
Look at this. So I had to think twice about what he said. He's not getting autographs. He's signing autographs tonight.
Yeah, that's what he said. It's crazy out there. He's become a little celebrity, though. If you watch the games, I mean, he shines. And he's a stud, too. Little middle infielder.
Good hands.
Oh, great hands.
Look at this. He had a backup pen in his back pocket.
And the glasses in the back of the neck, just in case the sun comes out. I love it.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count to Todd Frazier. Fastball strikes out Frazier to make for a 1-2-3 seventh by the bigger fella. oranges and popcorn for Jake Arrieta and company. Let's take a look at our game track brought to you by Gillette. All 12 of the Mets' hits have been singles tonight, but good enough to plate 7 runs because Jason Vargas was that good on the mound. The only damage for the Phillies.
You see Rhys Hoskins just dump the whole thing over his head.
The Carlos Santana homer. 7-2 as we go to the bottom of the 7th inning.
Another cool moment too, guys, after the Phillies left the Little League fields today to come over here to prep, Jake Arrieta, who wasn't throwing, didn't have a bullpen, he went back over to the Little League fields and stadium. And we caught him with a bunch of the kids just literally teaching pitch grips. I mean, he was like in it, invested, hanging out, having fun. I mean, just, and literally when I was asking him, he's like, you know, I'm around my teammates all the time. I love them. But if I can be around 12-year-old baseball players, sign me up.
Indeed. And it's not just watching. That's why I thought it was so cool that we had Syndergaard and DeGrom and Wheeler out talking to these kids. If you talk carefully, if you listen carefully to these kids, they're loving the interaction, talking and listening and learning. And I remember when Keith Hernandez came down to Miami, and I was just a youngster, and he came down to FIU International, and he was on a rehab assignment. And I had a chance to talk to one of my heroes, touch him in his shoulder, and I just felt like, oh my, I just kept staring at him.
Yeah.
He was looking at me like, why are you watching me like this? But I left after meeting Keith Hernandez, and I said, oh my gosh, he is human. If Keith can do it, why can't I? And I hope a lot of these kids are leaving here today, back to their hometown, back to their home country, saying I met a bunch of great, cool Major League Baseball players, and I too can live the dream.
But that's the key, though, is the relatability. And that's the most important thing, is like these guys aren't that different. And if you look even at Todd Frazier and Mike Conforto and their pictures when they're younger, yeah, they grew into who they are. And I love seeing your eyes light up, Alex, when you talk about that interaction, because everyone's been a kid and has had that moment.
And just, it doesn't have to be a Major League Baseball player. You can be like Jerry Davis, a 34-year-old legend Major League umpire at third base. Or you can be Matt over here and be an announcer, or you can be a front office. There's so many opportunities in baseball. You're talking about the best sport in the world is a $10 billion industry and growing. And if you can't play between the lines, there's a job for you within baseball.
Anybody else grab the irony of young Jake Arrieta in a Cubs uniform? Cubs just got through splitting a series with the Pirates.
Cubbies.
Great career there in his time on the north side.
Oh, that's a good smile.
Ball and 2 strikes, the count to Odubel Herrera.
I had a kid come to me, Matt, just about 3 innings ago and said, hey, I want to be my entire life. And he touched me in the shoulder. He said, I want to be just like you, Matt, Jessica, and Alex. I want to be a big league broadcaster. I said, you want to be like us?
Cool.
And I gave him, and he put him on. He started talking to our producer, Andy. And Andy said, you've changed your voice. I said, that's not me. There's a 10-year-old. It's so cool for them, for us to be here and for them to be so close to it. It's awesome.
2-2 the count to Odubel Herrera. I think this is a night where all the big league players remember what it was like when they were kids growing up playing Little League Baseball, or in the case of Odubel Herrera, growing up in Venezuela, he was a volleyball star. That was his game as a lad. Back to Lugo for out number 2. You know, there are a lot of player development people in baseball, and I'm thinking specifically of Buck Showalter, who love to draft and develop athletes that played multiple sports. And I know a lot of parents feel like it's really important to lock a kid onto baseball with travel ball and play for 12 months out of the year. There are many who feel like having a well-rounded palate, if you will, all sports can lead you into the direction to big league baseball, the same way as if you were laser focused from a young age on one game.
Ask any of these players how many sports they played, what sport they thought they were going to get to be professional in. I mean, if you have to choose when you're 10 or 11, a lot of times you might choose the wrong sport. You don't even know who you are yet. And that's what I love about listening to all the stories, is athleticism comes because you do a multitude of things. If you just focus on one, you burn out, and it's not much fun.
Roman Quinn with a pinch hit single back up the middle.
Second baseman, Cesar Hernandez.
And man, I remember having similar conversations with Buck Showalter about him loving great athletes, loving quarterbacks, you know, liking players to be shortstops. He always said, in order to be a #1 pitcher, you have to be a great athlete. And if you think about Doc Gooden, Bob Gibson, some of the great pitchers, they're usually great athletes who can field their positions and also hit a little bit.
So after the 2-out pinch hit single, here's Cesar Hernandez. Hernandez is singled in 3 tries tonight, extending a modest hitting streak to 4 straight games. Well, speaking of Little League World Series alums to star in other sports, how about Chris Drury, who pitched for Trumbull, Connecticut in 1989 before his career in the NHL. Austin Dillon, a member of the Clemens, North Carolina Little League team before being a Daytona 500 winner. And of course, Jake Fromm played for Robbins, Georgia, Southeast Region winners, and currently at the University of Georgia with a very bright future ahead of him on the gridiron. You don't have to pick one. And by the way,
Monet Davis,
available for everybody, boys and girls alike. Monet Davis could testify to that.
First female pitcher.
I love watching her pitch a few years ago.
I mean,
amazing.
Dominated. She got that win. She had a couple, actually. And, watching her play. It was 4 years ago, I think, now.
Yeah, it was 4 or 5 years ago, and this town is still buzzing about her greatness.
Well, she's still a star here for sure.
Well, and honestly, a lot more girls are playing baseball because of Monet Davis. I mean, she literally, you talk about a pioneer, she did it at 12. And I've heard more girls tell me, you choose between softball and baseball. More girls are playing baseball because they saw what she did and the possibility. You got to see it to be it.
Oh!
Strike to Cesar
Speaking
Hernandez.
of star power, look at my buddy right here.
Sean Yamaguchi.
How you doing, my friend? Great attitude, Jess. He has a great attitude.
I love it.
And
I love the way you play. I love the way you play. It's fun. How it should be.
Sean, I know you're really tired of signing autographs today. It's been a hassle.
Here, sign another one for me, buddy.
Can you not, don't big league Alex, because he wants a signature.
I have 2 daughters. Just give me one big signature right there. And I'm going to hold it up. I'm going to hold it up for my girls. Natasha and Ella is coming home. First day of school tomorrow.
You're going to want Sean's.
Sean, nice to meet you, Bubba. Continued success. And he said, I said, are you a good surfer, Sean? He said, no, unfortunately, my coach doesn't allow us to surf.
Ah, well, you know, I get it, though, right? You want to make sure you're packaging your guys, keep them clean, keep them healthy. Hawaii's here trying to win it. Another full count pitch on its way to Cesar Hernandez with a runner aboard and 2 gone. Quinn runs and a swing and a miss retires the side. We played 7 complete at the Little League Classic. Mets comfortably on top by 5. NYN is presented by Taco Bell's Nacho Fries. And back at Bowman Field in Williamsport, the Fanatic has been every bit as popular as Mr. Met and Sean Yamaguchi and all the rest of the Little Leaguers and anybody in a big league uniform tonight. 7-2 Mets as we start the top of the 8th inning. Some changes for the Phillies. First and foremost, a new pitcher as right-hander Luis Garcia takes over. 16 strikeouts in his last 11 appearances, and ERA under 4, making his 43rd appearance of the year tonight. He'll start with Austin Jackson leading off the 8th. You know, to get back to the Phillies story for just a moment, this was a big one for them tonight. They are short of a comeback, on the verge of dropping 3 of 5 in this series. Again, they had the big doubleheader on Thursday that began a long weekend. When you peer into the upcoming schedule, they've got 2 more big series with the Nationals. They've got the Cubs on the schedule coming up. See some of the changes. Justin Bour at first, Cabrera moving to short. You saw Carlos Santana at third, his first appearance in that position in 4 years. Jackson strikes out. There's 1 gone. But the Atlanta Braves, who just got through with the Colorado Rockies and all they could handle, by the way, swept in a 4-game series at home, had kind of cracked the door open for the Phillies. Yet against the Mets, the last place team in the division, the Phillies were unable to capitalize. Again, trailing tonight and on the verge of perhaps losing 3 out of 5. That NL East is tight and interesting. The Nationals, though 7 back, just won't go away because the Phillies and Braves haven't been able to bury anybody yet.
And when you look at schedules, Matt, you can say that it favors the Phillies over the Braves. So games like tonight, it's a lost opportunity for the Phillies.
A ball and 2 strikes to Jose Bautista, and a ground ball chance. It finds the new third baseman. Santana converts on the opportunity, and there are 2 away. Hey, how about the Cardinals and what they're doing in the NL Central? They're featured on ESPN this week, Tuesday and Wednesday nights against the Dodgers. Start time at 10 Eastern from Chavez Ravine. Sunday Night Baseball a week from tonight. Jess, Buster, Alex, and I will be in Baltimore for the Yankees and the Orioles.
All right, get it over with. Who said at the All-Star break the Cardinals were going to get real hot and make the playoffs, Alex?
The Fighting Cards. And Schultz, you can't give up on those cards. They never go away.
You said it. You predicted it. You called it.
You've been calling a few things. Called Tanaka being one of the pitchers that the Yankees would rely on, possibly getting into the postseason, when it looked like Severino was completely dominant, and then the Cardinals. Come on.
No.
Tell us. Go ahead, brag. It's okay.
No. What, you see Alex's smile right there that he had when you were saying that to him? It reminded me earlier today as I was waiting before the game with Michael Conforto. We saw a replay of that home run he hit to left field, and he looked at his face as he rounded second and said, I was trying not to smile. I was trying not to smile. That's Alex right now getting the kudos.
2 balls and a strike to Kevin Plawecki. I think the non-response was because Alex doesn't remember saying that. Did you call the Cardinals at the break?
I did. You know, walking into Schultz, it was his first day as manager, and I just felt so much good energy. I loved his background, talking about, you know, Ripken Sr. and Ripken Jr. and coming up with the Oriole organization, and then the La Russa being his mentor. And I just thought you can never discount the St. Louis Cardinals. And here they are again.
Yeah, here they are, no doubt. A terrific race in the NL Central. Terrific race throughout the National League, by the way.
Yeah, the West. I mean, you look up every day, and now the Rockies are, you just mentioned it, swept the Braves. The Diamondbacks, the Dodgers, the AL West. I mean, Matty V sporting the Oakland Athletics for a reason.
Red
tied with
hot
the Astros
yeah, man,
yesterday.
It's been fun out there.
So, Buster, we have the Yankees next week. if you get into a situation of 163rd, one-game playoff, Houston Astros versus Yankees at Yankee Stadium, who's pitching for the Astros? Who's pitching for the Yankees?
Well, I would assume that Justin Verlander would be lined up to pitch that game for the Astros. You talk about a game of desperation, by the way. And on the Yankees side, I think now, based on what we've seen recently, I think Tanaka, as you said.
Plawecki hanging around on 3 balls and 2 strikes. You've heard the phrase, he knocked the stitching off that ball. Well, somebody did literally just that. I want to know who hit that.
Man, that happens on a foul ball. It just happened. And when you see the bat, when it's cupped and you hit it off the end of the bat, it cuts it just like a steak knife. And it goes right through. And is only with a cup bat. And the bat boy has the evidence.
And there it is. Oh, yeah.
The end of the bat has a cup on it, and usually it takes a 33-ounce bat to 32.5, and that cup is very sharp, and that's what creates the cut on baseball.
Boy, and somewhere in the world right now, Mike Scott is sitting at home saying, if I could only get my hands on 1 or 2 more of those. Dominic Smith is the pinch hitter. Again, he is the 26th man on the Mets roster tonight. Takes a pass and comes up empty. It's 1-1.
Which I know Mo remembers, but the Mets are glad they won that Houston Game 6, because Game 7, it was Mike Scott waiting for them, and they could not touch him that year or that postseason.
Now, see, Mets fans they're enjoying themselves tonight. Alex brings up Mike Scott. Two balls and a strike to Dominic Smith, recalled for this game in his 3rd stint with the Major League team. Hitting .255 with 6 homers in Vegas, the Mets AAA club. By the way, in a Major League minor league relationship that makes very little sense to anybody. You're stocking a AAA team on the opposite end of the country. You call a guy up, he might be there by the end of the week to help you. Two balls and 2 strikes. And Dominic Smith has a pinch hit base hit. Maybe more as it splits the gap in left center field. They're going to wave the runner around as Plawecki will score. An RBI for Dom Smith.
Beautiful swing here. Head down, and it's the bobble by Herrera that allows the runner to score in left center field. Herrera, go ahead, Jess. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you also get an idea of the dimensions here, because he does bobble it. Takes a little bit of time to get it in, but then because he's that deep, by the time it does get back in him, you got a catcher score from first base on that.
There's a pitch in the dirt that comes back and catches Ramos in the chops. A wild pitch will advance Smith to 3rd. Alex, you mentioned the outfield play there by Herrera, and it has not been a strength of Gabe Kapler's Phillies this year. They have been defensively challenged all season. Beyond the balls that are misplayed, they have committed more errors than any team in baseball this year, which is really unusual for a team that's in competition to play in the postseason.
You know, at a micro level, we were talking about Herrera earlier. Those are the things that would be concerning to me. Those are mental mistakes, not physical. And I know Rob Thompson, the bench coach for the Phillies, he's the outfield coordinator. That stuff drives him crazy. And I know that because I played with him with the New York Yankees. Something to watch down the stretch.
One more in the Mets half of the 8th to the bottom of the inning, and a now 8-2 New York lead. Kenny Mayne, they'll have the latest on Carson Wentz, the next step in his comeback, plus the top plays from week 2 of the NFL's preseason, and the coach who's back in football after 10 years. I'll give you a hint. You play to win the game. Sports Center is next right here on ESPN and on the ESPN app. Rhys Hoskins leads things off in the home 8th, and for an equipment check, let's check in with Buster.
Yeah, guys, he's not using the same bat that he used earlier in the game, but the one he used earlier in the game was covered with the first names of a lot of kids from the Muscular Dystrophy Association summer camp in Philadelphia. There's the bat that he used at the outset of this game. He told me that he began to work with the MDA in his summer camp at age 17 or 18, and he's just continued to do it. So on an off day in July, he went to the summer camp and he got all those autographs from all those kids, and he said, hey, there's not a better place to break out this bat and use it in the game than here in Williamsport.
That's fantastic. That is, you know, for a guy that's just into his first full season in the big leagues, to have that kind of awareness to get back to a community. That's why he's somebody that I think Phillies fans are going to hang their hat on for a long time.
If you want to play, let's play.
New pitcher for the Mets as right-hander Drew Smith takes over here in the last of the 8th. And he'll get a first pitch ball in play. That results in a fine play by McNeil for the out. Quick out begins the inning. Time for our Corona Premier moment, or moments plural, thanks to Todd Frazier.
Great at bat, Jack. Like I did in the Little League here. Laid off, first hit, first run.
Frazier, I like how you play the ball.
Yeah, don't let the ball play.
Huh?
Don't let that ball play. What do you think? The 4th guy looks like Bautista on our sleeve, right here. Look, right there. Looks like Bautista, this guy.
He's talking about the Players Association patch. Nobody's
just
had
like
more
silhouettes.
fun. Right? Yeah. So here's Carlos Santana now. Whose 2-run home run, the only damage on the scoreboard for the Phillies tonight. Fourth, you know, he's not far off with the leg kick.
Yeah.
It did look like Bautista. Two balls and a strike to count to Carlos Santana. The starter tonight was Jason Vargas. Pitched into the 6th inning. And with the exception of the ending, when he gave up the single, homer, and double as his final 3 batters faced, had a terrific start. In fact, his best in a Mets uniform tonight. Swing and a miss by Santana. Well, our discussion of Little League memories isn't complete without documenting Mickey Callaway in a tournament in Atlanta back in 1985 that you, Alex, participated in as well.
It's a crazy coincidence.
You know, someone in his camp claims he threw a no-hitter. He probably did, but I got to see that scorecard because I don't quite believe it. Now, Mickey has a great attitude. He said, I played with you 7 years in a row. I don't remember one. I felt so bad because I love Mickey, but besides the heat in Atlanta in 1985 and going to watch Dale Murphy at old Fulton County Stadium, I mean, there's more people here tonight than there was at Fulton County. Yeah, but Mickey threw a no-hitter, so he says.
So he says.
Sticking by his story. A comebacker. And a 1-2-3-8 for Drew Smith. Mickey's telling Dave Island right now about the no-hitter he threw in 1985 Little League in Atlanta.
Mickey Callaway.
I got A-Rod 4 times that night. ESPN2 at 4 Eastern. It's Intentional Talk, a fun 1-hour breakdown of baseball's hottest topics with Chris Rose and Kevin Millar. You can also watch it live on the ESPN app if you're at work.
Have fun. You bet. Have fun, guys. Have fun, huh?
Home plate umpire Chris Guccione offering his well wishes to the youngsters for the remainder of the Little League World Series. And another pitching change for the Phillies to start the inning. Right-hander Edubre Ramos takes over on the mound. 8-2 New York. Ramos making his 41st appearance of the year, a sub-2 ERA, recalled from AAA last week. His second stint with the major league team this year. He faces McNeil, Flores, and Conforto here in the ninth. You know, this is the time of the night, and those of us with kids can attest to this. There is an attention span shelf life. And
what are you talking about?
They're all, I mean, they've got ants in their pants. These kids can't sit still. They're all up and buzzing around. They, you know, it's like the juice boxes have kicked in, and they're like, you know, where's the next thing to eat? What's on your phone? They're buzzing around.
They're popping everywhere. Like literally, like it's like popcorn. Like they're not sitting. They're popping up. They're running around. Well,
Yeah.
this is when the sugar really gets going.
Our competition is that phone, Instagram, Snapchat.
No doubt, no question.
Well, John Yamaguchi also made it very clear to me that signing all those autographs, he wasn't getting as much opportunity as he anticipated to eat. He was looking for his next meal when I was talking to him.
Smart kid.
2 balls and 2 strikes to count to Jeff McNeil. Lined into right, leadoff base hit.
And one of my favorite things, we've talked a lot about Todd Frazier tonight, obviously winning the Little League World Series 20 years ago. One of the best memories, though, guys, watch him sneak a peek at the catcher. He was told before this at bat, this is a leadoff batter, okay, of the championship game. He goes yard. So his coach tells him, hey, catcher's setting up early, Japanese catcher. So, you know, Alex, usually it's like a subtle look. No, with Todd, he full on turned his head, stared at the catcher, saw him go inside. Bomb shot.
Hey, Todd Father said, hey, I'm from New Jersey. We don't do anything subtle, baby. I'm going to look and then go yard.
That's an amazing piece of video there.
Awesome.
Talk about peaking. He dominated, too, and was the winning pitcher out of the bullpen in the title game in 1998.
It's just so cool, and that's what I love. I mean, not only the grins and the smiles, but just seeing like the way they play the game so innocently. Oh, the catcher's giving the signs? Okay, let me stare at him. Okay, here we go.
Tom's River, that is a baseball hotbed in New Jersey. Al Leiter and his brother Mark. With the lineage now, there's another Leiter pitching in Major League Baseball. The Brewers had a first-round draft choice by the name of J.M. Gold some years ago that was from Tom's River. Two balls and a strike to count to Wilmer Flores with a man aboard. Takes a strike and it's 2-2. On the ground to shortstop, Taylor made for 2, and the Phillies convert on the double play opportunity. There are 2 gone, bases empty here in the 9th.
You know, Matt and Jessica, a lot of times we talked about front office, being a broadcaster, but a lot of times a guy like Jerry Davis, the third base umpire, who's been in the league 35 years, you know, players, we rank them, we appraise them by 5 tools. Well, umpires are the same way. You appraise umpires by calling balls and strikes. You appraise them by how good they are on the bases. You appraise them by attitude and energy and passion. The 4th and most important part is controlling the game, the emotions. I've been in the game for 25 years. I've never been in a game with Jerry Davis, World Series playoff or regular season, where the game got out of control. So if you're a young umpire and you aspire to be in the major leagues, no better role model than Jerry Davis, the crew chief.
Some of the little league umps are taking in the big league game tonight.
All volunteer. They got a big grins on their faces too, and all the volunteers you think about here at Little League.
And a ground ball to the right side that will retire the side. Last licks for the Phillies to the bottom of the 9th. 8-2 Mets. cheapest ticket in baseball. Just 2,500 plus fans allowed into intimate Bowman Field in Williamsport, and those who were lucky enough to get a seat have not been disappointed. And those that constructed their own view, equally thrilled because Austin Jackson just flipped him a baseball.
Oh, that is cool.
Pitching change for the Mets, looking to close things out. Left-hander Daniel Zamora, who made his major league debut during the week with an inning and a third scoreless against the Phillies, will appear here tonight in Williamsport. Daniel came up to the big league club all the way from Double-A Binghamton. He was 1-1 with a couple of saves at the Double-A level, a mid-season Eastern League All-Star.
Has a wicked slider.
As dribble Cabrera to the opposite field. Bautista is there for it, and there's one gone in the last of the ninth. Well, Rhys Hoskins has taken in the event, and in fact was more starstruck than the other way around.
We're at Lamini Stadium, and look who I ran into.
Big Al.
Big Al. And one thing that we really both love to do
Is hit dingers.
is hit dingers.
It's the smile with the accent, with the cheeks, the whole combination.
Classic.
It doesn't get old. He said, I'm telling you what, no one has said a sentence more than Big Al saying, they call me Big Al and I hit dingers. He's probably said it 300 times a day. Celebrity with Australia shirt. Get making trades too.
Big Al's had a big and a great week.
I mean, this is the power of social media again, right, Alex? I mean, viral video of him saying, I just hit dingers. He was on ESPN, big star. Kimmel's producers called, send him to Hollywood.
So cool. So cool.
He's had a good run.
Here's Justin Bohr now with a runner aboard and one gone.
Anytime Jimmy Fallon is talking about baseball, it's good for Major League Baseball.
Look at the youth picture of Justin, right? He was a Philly in Little League. Love it. A couple of nasty sliders have him behind 0-2. Again, next year's Little League Classic, August 18th. The Pirates play host to the Cubs. That announcement made by Commissioner Rob Manfred earlier tonight. In foul territory for out number 2. We remind you, Sports Center is coming up right after the game. And I think the Phillies and Mets plan on kind of wrapping up the evening here in the spirit of competition. Cardinals and Dodgers Tuesday and Wednesday night. Great Major League action to come. Two pennant chasing teams collide on Major League Baseball on ESPN this week. It is Odubel Herrera who represents a last chance for the Phillies tonight.
Oh, front door slider. I mentioned how dirty it was. We've seen it away to lefties, but he kind of threw it more to the front hit there of Herrera. That's why he kind of looked back at the umpire, went right back over the plate.
Man, he is almost out of the front end of the batter's box when he sets up.
You have a lot of scouts this time of year looking right where we're at, Matt and Jessica, looking for a guy like this, a Zamora, that if you know you're facing in 2 or 3 weeks in the postseason a big lefty, this could be the guy that you may get for 1 out.
We're kidding, Matt.
He's almost out, right? He is exploring every dimension of the batter's box there. And he's rung up for a called strike 3 to end the proceedings in Williamsport tonight. It's the Mets behind the strong start of Jason Vargas and their double-digit hit attack that claim a victory in this year's Little League Classic.
What a special day for baseball all around. It began the day with 4 Little League games, international games, U.S. games, the Mets and Phillies flying in, busting in to be able to be a part of it. And then, look at all the Little Leaguers. That's 2,500 kids here to watch a big league game. And the fact that it just comes full circle, a beautiful day.
Well, the Mets and Phillies wrap up their long 5-game series, one that started with the doubleheader on Thursday night. And the Mets claim 3 of the 5.
And you see some of the Phillies coming out of their bench, and this is a pretty cool gesture here, but not only the Phillies organization, but by Gabe Kapler, the manager. And they're saluting the winning team, the Mets.
And this is for Little League, because we're here at Little League Baseball, and this is something that doesn't happen in the big leagues anymore. You saw the Mets high-fiving each other. You don't see the teams go to each other and go across with the handshakes, but this is something that happens at Little League, so they're doing it here for the Little League Classic. A special moment, something pretty unique. See these two teams.
It's been a great weekend at Williamsport. Little League World Series continues all week on ESPN. Major League Baseball action Tuesday and Wednesday night, the Dodgers and the Cardinals. For Jessica Mendoza, Alex Rodriguez, and Buster Olney, Matt Vasgersian thanking you for joining us from historic Bowman Field, where the Mets have beaten the Phillies in the Little League Classic. Final score tonight, 8-2 New York. Now let's send you to SportsCenter with John Buchagras and Kenny Mayne.